Hey everyone, welcome to a special live episode of The Geek. Oh shit, I got that all wrong already. I'm super excited. Of The
Geek Buddies. Hey!
And our special guest returning to do the show. We can't thank him enough for taking the time tonight. It's a Sunday night. I'm sure he's been going crazy with everything that's happened with DC Fandome. Thank you so much to Mike Kalinowski. How are you, brother?
Guys, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me here, man. What a weekend. I feel like, man, I kind of feel like we're at Comic-Con. Little bit.
I feel less hungover, but other than that, I feel like Comic-Con.
and I gotta point something out here. The John, Vogel, and myself are all repping our DC wear. Mr. Kalinowski, Mr. DC himself, has himself a V-neck on. I'm shocked right now.
Can I explain why?
Okay.
Why? It's
Have
a
you
little
soaked through all your DC stuff.
It's a little hot. It's a little hot right now. I
It is.
spent the day cleaning the house. The lady is at the beach with her friend.
Nice.
And I was like, well, all my shirts like those are a little tighter, little snug. I needed a shirt that I can do this in and breathe in a little bit.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie. I like you in a snug shirt. So
Great. Awesome. Let's start there.
I was going to be wearing a tank top. This is what I've been wearing in the house. But Vogel, you didn't have a tank top on, and I feel left out.
That's fair.
So I had to put a shirt on, so I wasn't doing that. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
If people knew our history, they'd know exactly what's being referenced here. But it's a lot of fun to be dealing with it today. But look, this is so exciting. I was out of town this weekend, so I was having to catch up on everything, as I was getting the chance to catch up on it and watch it at my hotel room. And it was a lot of fun to be able to do this. But listen, we're going to talk about all the DC Fandome stuff that broke open. This is a live show, so you will get a chance to come in live, ask questions of all of us and Mr. DC himself, Mike Kalinowski, in a little bit. But look, we also need your Streamlabs and your Super Chats. So send those in to support the show and support the Outlaw Nation as well. So please do that throughout the show. We're going to go and talk first about what we felt overall about the DC Fandome experience, and then break down each one of these trailers. And we're going to definitely get into a little Zack Snyder JL a little bit later on. We're going to save the debate till later on in the show.
Yeah. What is there to debate?
I miss you sons of bitches. I miss you guys.
Yeah, you guys are in for a special treat who are watching us, or if you're listening to us later on the podcast, thank you so much. But you guys are in for a special treat because this is essentially the Comic-Con foursome that's been going down for the last few years. And so the debates are going to be fast and furious and wild, and the in jokes are going to be in there as well. So just get ready for all of that in here today for sure.
And the likelihood of a car accident is way down this way.
I'm a very good driver.
Especially when you're not holding the mic. Speaking of which, we should all introduce ourselves. I'm John Rocha, I'm a writer, producer, and host, and the CEO here of the Outlaw Nation. Shannon.
Yes, this is Shannon McClung. I'm an animation writer and a television actor where you may have seen me on Silicon Valley, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and Teen Wolf.
Michael?
I'm Michael Vogel. I am a writer and producer of animated TV shows and movies. I am also a very good Comic-Con driver, and I would like to call myself maybe head of HR or PR of Outlaw Nation. I don't know.
You're the head of HR? You're the head of HR?
You can't be the head of HR if you just told that one of the guests like him in a tight shirt.
I said, maybe I'm the head of HR as I grab my whiskey and just like take it.
You're the guy that HR, the guy comes in and feels he's being, sexually molested in the workplace. And you're like, let's get into this, massaging his shoulders and asking him what's wrong.
Whoa. All right, here we go.
4 minutes. It took 4 minutes.
I know, it took 4 minutes.
I haven't seen this guy in like a year in person.
This is incredible. I already got over 135 of you all watching us live. Thank you so much. Please hit that like button, that thumbs up button. We're going to get into all of it. So first of all, let's go around the table or around the horn, so you might say, and get the assessment of what you felt about the overall DC Fandome event that happened yesterday. Vogel, let's start with you. You're an executive, you're a writer, you're a producer. You've done all these kinds of things outside of the Geek Buddies. So please tell me what you thought about the presentation overall of what you saw yesterday.
I know. I mean, we've been talking about it off and on for the past several weeks as like news has come out, and I would probably say that I was maybe the more skeptical of all of us of how this was going to go, and if they were going to be able to pull it off. And I think you do have to say up front that for what they pitched, they did not 100% pull it off. Like something went wrong. They weren't able to have all the rooms, like the whole multiple rooms, the whole like they definitely at the 11th hour were like, here's what we're doing. We're showing everything and all the other stuff we said we're doing in September. So there were some technical difficulties. Something didn't go what they promised and what the overall experience was meant to be. Yeah, they didn't land that. That being said, I'm kind of with Kalinowski a little bit. I thought yesterday was an absolute blast. I woke up kind of excited. I kind of woke up with that feeling of like, oh, there's some special stuff today, and kind of had my laptop open all day and like, would be in and out as I was doing other things, but definitely made sure I kind of, just like at Comic-Con, I made sure I was on time for the panels that I was most excited about. Yeah. And it was just a day of awesome reveals. I mean, it's something that we didn't get this year at Comic-Con. We didn't have that Hall H day of watching trailers and tweeting about it. But sitting here in my apartment watching it, like, it was great. And so I think that even though they didn't, for whatever reason, manage to get the ultimate go explore everything, for what they had, they made the most of it. And I would say that despite my specific opinions on some things over other things that we can get into, I think the way everything was presented was great. I think that, and props to them. We talked about this a lot. Yeah. With Comic-Con, that Comic-Con did not manage to get that feeling of talking to the fans and answering questions. Right. And the way they set everything up, whether it was pre-recorded, not pre-recorded, depending on the panel, you definitely felt like there was a lot of fan interaction. And I thought they did a really good job with that. So like, normally, I'm definitely the one that's known for poo-pooing on what DC does. I think it was a big win for them. I think it was a big win for them yesterday.
Real quick, Basement Lounge says DC Fandome was a game changer for the future of fan events. I was going to go to Kalinowski next, but he's left the screen. So Shannon, you tell me. Oh, you gotta pick. Okay, all right. Well, let's go to Shannon first, and then we'll say, because people are so looking forward to what you think, Mike. Let's go to Shannon real quick. Shannon, what did you feel about the overall presentation here yesterday?
I had a blast. I had heard about the splitting of the event
into two or three
days before. Yeah. But I was fine with it because most of the stuff that I really wanted to see was all going to be in the Hall of Heroes. I actually tweeted yesterday that since Fandom was kind of stepping in for Comic-Con, I had a very light breakfast. I had an awful, unhealthy lunch, and I was planning on having copious amounts of alcohol for dinner, which all three boxes, check. Right. It was a blast, and it was so incredibly well done, especially on the heels of Comic-Con at home. And again, I didn't log on. I don't have an educated opinion about it one way or another, but it seems like they just really knocked it out of the park. I love the fact that Aisha Tyler was kind of handing it off to hosts from all over the world, because not just DC, but the geek community, it's a global community. When you go to Comic-Con in San Diego, you meet people from all over the world. You hear Q&As from people all over the world. And I thought that was just awesome to see that these characters that we've grown up with and that we love, they're loved worldwide. Like Comic-Con, there were a couple of holes in the schedule that I was like, okay, I'm going to run out and grab something to eat, or, I'm going to hop in the shower real quick. Like if it was like Comic-Con, I really wouldn't have showered. But DC Fandome, I mean, I really think that even when the age of social distancing is over, this might be something that continues. Okay.
I like this assessment very, very much. We go to Mr. DC himself from DC Movie News, and of course, DC Twitter, Mike Kalinowski, dude. Tell me, man, this. I mean, we had the Batman, the Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman 84, video games. So much got previewed here. Talk to me.
I gotta say, guys, I was kind of on the fence about this whole thing, what it was going to be, because the Comic-Con at home thing was a bust. That was like a Zoom panel of everyone saying what they would talk about if there was a panel. Like, it was just, I checked out. I was like, this is awful. Didn't capture the vibe. When I got the news that it was splitting up into 2 days, I kind of thought it was going to be the worlds, and you for 24 hours, you can click wherever you want. If you want to see the Batman trailer and Batman panel, you go there and it'll be already archived to view there. I didn't know it was going to be kind of like a Hall H where it was like all day. So I think DC, I don't think it was a technical thing. I think they go, whoa, 24 hours. All the people are going to be in this one room because it's the big stuff. They're not going to see the other stuff. Right. Like, the cosplay and the artist stuff. Splitting into 2 days, I think I don't know why they waited a full month. I think they should have done that all today. And then you could go to the movie stuff if you want to repeat the panels. But like Shannon said, this to me I felt like Hall H. I woke up, I was like, wow, we're getting, because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't think we were going to get Batman stuff. I thought we might get a picture of him, like in a full suit. maybe a scene as him as Bruce Wayne. Right. I didn't know what to expect. So I got up 10 o'clock in the morning and it felt like Comic-Con. All I was missing was the three of you guys next to me. Like by the end of the day, I was tired. My stomach hurt because I had crap food all day. I had a bowl of cereal and a bag of popcorn. That's all I ate. I felt like crap. My stomach was like, oh, this doesn't feel good. But it felt like I'm exhausted. I'm laying on the couch. I'm like, I didn't do anything. But oh my God. It felt like Comic-Con.
Yeah. I just am wondering, the one thing I was missing is like when there's like a DC panel or a DC something, like all three of you get, I mean, we all get excited when we see stuff, but Kalinowski, you have that thing that you do where like you lean forward and you get the whole face and you look around like, did everybody else see that? Like, were you just doing it on the couch by yourself?
Shannon has pictures and video of me like reacting to the videos online. Like it was insane. Like it was like they handled it so well. You guys always talked about this because you guys went to Comic-Con a lot more than I did. Where Feige owned Hall H. He owned it. He was a showman. He knew what to do. And DC just could never get that. Like in 2017, they had a little bit of it when they started opening the screens on the sides. But it was always like fumbling with the filmmakers and the awkward questions. Right. And because there was so much drama, you know, Ben Affleck's on stage, but he's like, I'd be an ape for Matt Reeves, guys. And you're just like, oh, something's going on here. This is not. So they had full control of this. And it just felt like they brought their A game. It seemed like with Hamada being there and in charge, it's like, oh, and embracing the multiverse is like, oh, they know what they're doing now. Yeah. They're not trying to streamline this as this one universe going forward. You know, I thought my problem, I love the global feel. I love that it felt like that. The couple issues I had were some of the hosts, and this is not a, hey, your English is a second language, because I know that, but the scripts, if you have people, like you watch an Aisha Tyler, you know she loves DC. Yeah. And you feel it when they're talking. There are some hosts where they're like, I've been waiting my whole life to play a Batman video game, and I cannot wait to play this video game. And you're just like, okay, you were paid to say that. There's so many hosts all over the world that have that love of DC. Find those people. Like when you watch a Tiffany Smith, you're like, yeah, she loves what she's talking about. Yeah, and there was the one guy, I forgot where he was from. He was so good. And there was this one girl from Mexico. I was like, I loved hearing her talk. And I love I love the interaction with global fans and the artwork that they would do display between the things. And it felt like a global community. And I think my last thing is that I just think DC set the gold standard. I don't think they'll ever go back to Hall H. I don't think they should. This, you know, you guys have been there. Hall H is people buying tickets just for Hall H. So they are taking tickets away from people that want the con. You sit there all day. The press gets the few great seats up front, and they're on their computers the whole time. So the true fans are in the middle and the back, and you're just like, okay, everyone got it. We all got it. Yep. We all got to see it and enjoy it. It sucks I'm not next to you, squeezing your hands, and you know, McClung seeing the guy going nuts for King of Monsters, Godzilla, and having the orgasm in front of us. We don't get that.
Getting into fights with the girls behind us.
An eye with a pencil.
Yeah. I think this is the gold standard of the way to do this. And I think this changes Comic-Con, but I don't think it'll diminish Comic-Con. I think it'll get Comic-Con back to what people want, where it's the fans going to enjoy the stuff and not become a media frenzy. Right. My two cents.
No, I think these are great 2 cents, Mike. And I think that's where I would have to leap off of the platform you just laid out. To me felt like a game changer. Absolute game changer. This was everything that they were hoping Comic-Con would be. And DC came out and essentially matched a Star Wars Celebration event. They matched a Marvel event. They matched any event you can think of in their own way. And yes, there were some technical glitches and some issues with hosts, and that's bound to happen. Yep. You'll have that at any con. You'll have that at any event. They choose who they choose, and they hope those people can carry the panels. And sometimes they do, and most of the times they do, sometimes they don't. But in this, the way they broke everything down, the way they laid DC consumed the day, and that's what you wanted to see. Marvel has done that so well, and you're right. Now DC has really stepped forward, and the excitement and the build and all the different types of places and interests that you might have. Oh, I love video games. I'm not really into the movies as much. Boom, I've got something here. Oh, I'm into Wonder Woman. Boom, I got something here. I'm into the Justice League with Zack Snyder. Well, I got it. The Batman, I got it. All these other things. Black Adam even, I got it. So all this stuff was permeating throughout, and the excitement and the joy and the fun on social media. I was following along whenever I could pick up my phone and look at stuff and watch. I mean, I was sneaking off into rooms or bathrooms to watch trailers on my small phone, and even on the small phone, I was going insane from what I was seeing. So overall, I think they absolutely knocked it out of the park in a way that I think a lot of people, as Michael said, were skeptical they'd be able to do it. And they really, really did it. And the conversations, I thought, for the most part, of all the panels were really good. I think there are some questions still with the Ezra Miller situation. They didn't really address that. Yeah. A couple other things, they stayed out of it. The DC cuts, the layoffs, all that, they stayed away from it. But overall, I think they absolutely won the day. And yeah, splitting it up feels weird, but maybe they're splitting up because they want to see where Wonder Woman is at and where COVID is at in September, to see if they're going to do an even harder push for it as it comes out in October, and other movies or other games or other situations. The TV show might have a little bit more to talk about down the road. So all of that could be possible in a month. So I think it's actually smart to separate it out in a month. Maybe they learn the technical glitches and the mistakes that were made on Saturday, and they'll fix it for a month later, and it'll be an even smoother event. And this changes Comic-Con forever. Why would you ever go back to Comic-Con if you could do this and fans can talk about it all over the world for a day?
I do just want to say, though, I mean, perhaps this was a tactical choice to split it up into 2 different days and move one a month away. Most likely, when you've promoted something to be a specific thing, and 48 hours before the thing launches, you say, we're changing it drastically and this is what we're doing. That's not a creative or tactical choice. That is this isn't working. We need, the interface isn't working. Well,
Mike, think about this. If what we saw yesterday that was just the one room.
Yeah.
Would you have gone to any other room yesterday during that whole time?
Yeah. I mean, I said this last week. All I'm saying, and look, I'm not, to your point, maybe having the multiple rooms would have not worked. I'm not saying that was going to be better necessarily. And like I said, I think the experience yesterday was top notch. I think it is a game changer. I think that things will never be the same after this. I think they learned a lot. All I'm saying is I don't think this was a tactical choice 48 hours before the thing launched, all of a sudden change it. To your point, fair. I would have dipped out, particularly because the way it was laid out, there are the reruns throughout the day. Yeah. I would have absolutely dipped out to go over to like the Young Justice radio play or to some of the other rooms.
Yeah, okay.
Pick up some of that stuff for sure. But yeah, I was, again, this is less of a criticism, more of just like, I think this is the reality of the situation. And I think even given the reality, what they gave us still owned the day and was 100% a win.
Yeah. Let's get into some Streamlabs and Super Chats before we jumped into our reactions. We're going to go through trailer throughout the whole thing and break our thoughts down here. Real quickly, Corey Scott Johnson says, milestone announcement, Static is in development. Being a black nerd, I almost died. He's talking about Static Shock, the movie, which many of us know Phil Lamar did the voice for when it was an animated series. They are developing a movie for a new comic book series in 2021, rather, as part of a larger revival of Milestone Comics as a DC imprint. This is pretty incredible. Jim Lee appeared on the panel, filmmaker Reggie Hudlin, and Phil Lamar as well. So it will debut in February.
And Dennis Cowan. And Dennis Cowan.
Yes, and Dennis Cowan. Yeah.
That was one of the highlights of the day that I wasn't really didn't know I was going to be as excited about. I didn't know it was coming up. And Dennis is actually a good friend. I've met Reggie before. I know Phil really well. Yes. It was awesome. Like, that's amazing. And I think particularly like given where we are in our country right now, like having the Milestone imprint come back with Icon and Rocket and Static and all of those characters, I think is absolutely huge. And as we all talk about, and Kalinowski, as we've talked about several times in the car ride down to Comic-Con, I mean, I think this is the exact right time for some of these characters that there's a group of comic book fans, and there's a lot of black fans out there that really love these characters. And there's a lot of people that maybe know Static, but don't know all these others. And I think this is the exact right time to bring some of these characters to the forefront, really give them their due, and hopefully they catch on in a bigger way. Because we always talk about how do you get some of these new characters or characters that haven't gotten their due into the limelight.
Right.
I think also for people like myself, like, I was like comics my whole life, but Milestone in the 90s wasn't my thing, and maybe that was being closed-minded, You know, I like my Batman and my Superman and my Green Lantern. So for me to be able to rediscover these things, because they're re-releasing all the old stuff and they're going to bring it all back, for me to get it at a time in my life where I'm much more open and especially comics with the whole change in the industry. And they're saying, you know, they want to go digital and they're trying to get away from the print. And that's something I'm totally against. That I want the print to keep alive. I think that's a phenomenal way to hopefully bring a whole new readership, and to maybe fans that have gone away when Milestone went away, to bring them back. So I think that's when that panel, that's what I love. It was the surprise panel. I didn't think anything of it. I watched it. I was like, this was fantastic.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and just the fact that like one of our comments here mentioned that like it's not being made yet, it's in development. Which with a lot of properties, there's always multiple properties in development. But Reggie Hudlin, who I believe was the one who announced that it was in development, I was introduced to Reggie Hudlin through his television work, because he actually directed me in an episode of a sitcom like 10 years ago. And the fact that he was the one announcing that this movie is in development, hoping that he's creatively involved, I'm like, he was such a nice guy, and I it could not have happened for a nicer guy if this movie actually does get made.
Yeah. I interviewed Phil Lamar like 3 or 4 years ago with Yuri on our Cast of Characters show. He was one of the first episodes we ever did, and he still spoke glowingly about people's reactions to Static Shock and how heartbreaking it was to lose that animated series. And the reason was because they couldn't sell toys. They couldn't sell toys, and they couldn't sell these. So they had and for him, as a black nerd who loved getting to voice this character that became an icon amongst the black nerd community, to have this come back now in 2021, it can't be anything but a positive. And hopefully, yes, Shannon, you're right, still in development. Hopefully it does happen. It all comes out. The graphic novel happens. The movie happens. All of it comes, and it's fantastic. And it's a rebirth yet again here for something like this, you know. Samaritas Fi real quick says DC Fandome showed the world how to stage a virtual convention. I hope Lucasfilm and Marvel people were paying attention. That was perfect. What is the price for your blind eyes? Hashtag I'm vengeance. And Samir, thank you. Shout out to you with that picture with John Schnepp. King Sweaty would have loved yesterday. Absolutely.
And I think that's true. By the way, I 100% guarantee you that today Marvel and Lucasfilm and Disney in general and everybody are all having conversations, because DC Fandome got the social media response.
Yeah.
That, you know, we were talking about that Variety article that came out that was like Comic-Con just did not. Like the hashtags, the mentions, like we're just all way down. And yesterday you just had to see what was trending to go. DC Fandome just absolutely owning the day.
And it was kind of like a little bit yesterday was like, I sat at the end of the day and I saw a lot of people all throughout the day that I know for years of Bash DC, and they were in the things chatting and cheering. And part of me wanted to be snarky and throw some tweets out there like, oh, now you want to support? But I was like, you know what? Why?
You?
Yeah, but I didn't, because I was like, you know what? Screw it. But I didn't, because I'm an adult, and I was just like, what is that going to cost? Like, but it was like, wow, this is what I wanted for people to love these properties and to be celebrating it. And what am I going to do? Throw a snarky comment at someone? That's not going to solve anything. So people are seeing now like, oh, Marvel, you're behind. I was like, no, they're not. Marvel's in a lull right now. They've finished their Endgame. I just watched today Infinity War and Endgame back to back. My God. But like, I think what they're talking about, you also think about the cost of how much they saved by doing this, not flying their actors out there to Comic-Con, all that putting up. Like, it is a game changer. What are you shaking your head at for, Vogel? What? I
don't think.
What is it, Vogel?
I don't think DC Fandome was necessarily a low cost proposition. I think they spent some bank on this, but
they did. Okay.
Well, they mailed green screens to the actors. I heard they were sending them the green screens.
Also, remember, like, yes, it's especially right now. It seems like the days of an in-person con seem so far away. Marvel proved that going to D23 does not necessarily take away from going to Comic-Con. So just because DC does DC Fandome, that doesn't mean the days of them going down to San Diego are gone.
Yeah, true. Well, look, we've got almost 500 of you watching us live. Insane.
That's what I want to hear.
Hit that like button. Hit that like. We only had 120 likes. Please get us up to 500 likes. If you haven't hit that thumbs up, do it now. It takes you literally 3 seconds to swing your mouse over there.
500 likes, I'll take my shirt off.
There you go. 500 likes, you'll take your shirt off. I respect it. Oh, you said it. It's done now.
I did on someone's podcast. They got 500. Take my shirt off.
All right, let's go through these Streamlabs real quick.
At the time, but hey.
All right, Daniel Haygood says, this was the happiest weekend I've had as a movie fan in a long, long time. What were each of your favorite trailers / sizzle reels of the 4 main ones that were dropped yesterday? Daniel, we'll get to that. So put a pin in that one for sure. Soshar1999 says, that Batman trailer blew me away. Wasn't expecting it. Not to get carried away, but Denis Villeneuve Superman movie, sci-fi vibes, master director. I wouldn't be surprised if he was a fan of Le Kal-El either. We need a great Superman movie today. Nice little French reference for Denis Villeneuve.
I am not mad at that one bit.
Yeah, I like it too. I like that idea too. Kyle Varnador says that Batman trailer was crazy, and I loved it as well as the Suicide Game and Gotham Knights. Cinema Gorilla says, Outlaw, you know I won't be here for Battinson ever more so now knowing that Bruce and Riddler are going to be battling with mumblecore monologues and obvious riddles, but I hope everyone has fun because Matt Reeves rules. Fandome was awesome. # board life. Chad Patterson, DC Fandome. How do you guys feel about the Static Shock movie in development? We addressed that. And then let's jump into it. Cinema Gorilla had a couple more, but we'll get to those a little bit later. Let's start here. And it's absolutely the first place we need to start. That is the Batman trailer. That thing dropped like a firework, like a bomb amongst the social media and the nerddom with this beginning, hearing that duct tape as the logos were coming up. I was a little concerned about what we might see. People always saying like, oh, does Batman have to be dark? Does Batman have to be dark? Well, certainly that's what we got. An incredible, just dark approach that was mixture of Seven, Silence of the Lambs, film noirs. I even heard somebody reference the Telltale series of the possibility for the Riddler. We got Paul Dano. We didn't see his face for the fully, but we got some of Dano. We got possibly Colin Farrell as Penguin. The jury still seems to be out on that, or if that's Richard Kind. We don't know who is playing the situation, but but it was insane from top to bottom. Jeffrey Wright, fantastic as Gordon, all of it. And they released and said that this is the second year in the timeline of Batman. This is Batman's second year as Batman, and so this overall what just blew me away like crazy. I know I'm not alone. Mike, let's go to you first. Kalinowski, let's go. I mean, you're the Batman guy. You've got 7 different cosplay outfits.
Yeah, they're there in the background.
We're back there. Tell me, what was your experience through this
first
trailer,
of all, from the beginning, man, when a filmmaker loves a property and he's invested in, you can tell. That man talked for 25 minutes nonstop. And what he said, I've always been hooked on him from the beginning. I was like, his films, I'm on. It was the fact that he says, you know what, Gotham, it's a character. When he said that, I was like, he gets it. He gets it. Gotham is a character. And he said, he's like, Tim Burton's with the Gothic architecture. It was great. And Nolan did his thing and he moved on. And he's like, because
that was my favorite part. I love it. You can always tell when a director doesn't want to say something bad, but definitely an opinion. Because he was like, Tim Burton just had this Gothic world that like just you fell into it and it was great. Nolan did his thing.
And I've always said that like Gotham should be just as important as the Riddler, as Alfred, as Commissioner Gordon. You should walk down the streets and feel like you could get robbed. It should feel like dangerous. But then I didn't know we were going to get this trailer. They released 3 pictures online before the panel. Yeah. And I was like, okay, maybe we will. And then what they got, like, I didn't know, like, because it's a year 2.
Yeah, this is one of the ones you're talking about. They released that kind of artwork from Jim Lee. Yeah, I
thought like they took a lot of shades of it. I don't know if you guys have read Earth 1, the Earth 1 kind of series that's kind of redoing, and the Riddler's the first guy in that, and it has very, very good shades of that. There's a comic right now called The Batman's Grave. That's Batman versus. It's kind of like it's a detective story. It's shades of that. And it was interesting because Matt Reeves was saying, like, Batman's a myth. He's we don't know if he exists. But then he was working with the police. Yeah. He was walking among them. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. Yeah. So,
and in a way that, like, I mean, I know that I think at the beginning of Dark Knight, you have the moment where they're at the bank and Gordon kind of clears the room and Batman comes in. But the whole opening is that shot of all of the police just staring at him like, what's he doing here? And you can tell that you're getting into that a lot more. But then later you have the shot of him like sort of fighting with the police. So you see that he's still figuring out this relationship, which I thought was really, really cool.
Yeah. What did you think,
and something else, like, because this is the second year of him doing this, he's still figuring out who he is as a public figure as Bruce Wayne.
Right.
Like that, I saw a lot of comments mentioning me like, "Oh, why is he so goth? Why is he so goth?" It's like, listen, if you're kind of undertaking this enterprise of becoming a one-man crime fighting machine, you might not necessarily have the time to put in like being a social public figure. And so I love the fact that in that funeral scene when the car comes barreling in, that he does look a little disheveled. Like, this is a guy who's probably up all night. He's freaking tired. Like, that makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. Listen, glittery vampires gotta glitter. That's just how it is.
Okay. All right.
Oh my God, we just lost 50 people.
Yeah, great. Good job. I will say this though. I think what struck me really strongly was there were some Hush vibes to this as well.
Yeah.
And the fact that he says at the end, the Riddler, what Paul Dano does, saying, like, you're going to find out your part in this as well. And him not knowing what his part in this, it feels almost like, are they going to mix some mythologies together to create a new kind of storyline for the Riddler? I wonder if they're going to do that. I rewatched some of the Telltale stuff that people were referencing. And
that's the games. Those are very much the Waynes were part of the crime family.
Right. So there's a vibe to that feels very similar to what we saw, the darker wars, all of that stuff being obscured. So is that where they're going to go? The serial killer stuff here is very reminiscent, as we said, of Seven, him leaving little notes, kind of like the Zodiac killer throughout to lead Batman someplace. So all of it feels fantastic. And Matt Reeves did say that we're going to lean on him being a detective. So this is laid out like a detective mystery where he is essentially hunting down a serial killer throughout the movie.
Also, it was really great. I mean, I think the Riddler was first of all, to what you're saying, like we've said, we're not going to do the Batman origin story again because we've done the Batman origin story, but Batman's origin is important to this story. And that thing that the Riddler said at the end, like, I do think that they're going to follow that kind of track and being like, look, organized crime has just like sort of ruined Gotham. Clearly the Riddler feels the same way. And finding out that your parents, who you've gone on this mission to sort of avenge, like, had something to do with it, I think that's a really interesting aspect. But like I've said this from day one, like, the one thing I feel like the movies have never quite gotten right is that Batman is the world's greatest detective. And I'm really excited and watching the trailer, I was like, oh my God, this is so fucking obvious. Like, when you really do the Riddler in a real way, the way they're doing it, that sort of Kevin Spacey and Seven kind of way. Yeah. By definition, he has to be a detective. Like, you're not like, this is the way. Like, even when Gordon opens that little greeting card and it has like little pictograms in it. Like, I think on the right it says, what does a liar do when they're dead, or whatever the Riddler is. But like on the other, the little pictograms, you're like, we're gonna have to see him figure this out, because this is not like the Jim Carrey Riddler. Like, this is like a real, like, this is legit.
Well, and the end of that one riddle where he talks about what is the cost to turn your blind eye, like, we don't know, like, if Batman is working with the cops and the cops are corrupt and the Riddler's saying you're a part of this too because you are enabling these guys. This is going to be a really, it's not going to be. It's going to be different than any other Batman movie I feel that we've had in the past. This isn't going to be him saving the world. I don't feel like it's going to be this huge destroy the city finale. I think it's going to be small, and it's going to be intimate, and it's going to be super noir.
And particularly, Shannon, to what you're saying, because we all know that, and he talked about it, but Reeves had there's this sort of Gotham PD TV series coming down the pipe as well. Yes. And really the idea, and like in Batman Year One, a big part of the story in the comics is really Gordon kind of cleaning up the police department. And so I think that if there's good cops, there's bad cops, even the cops are corrupt, pretty on the money for where we are in life today. But like, like dealing with that stuff, and whatever happens out of the Batman leads to this series about the Gotham PD and what that is to be a police detective or a police person in this city where some of the cops are corrupt, some of them aren't. Like, that just kind of makes more sense for that series if they go down that road, which I think they will. Yeah, I mean, there may be a story that feels essentially ripped from the topical headlines over the last few months. You've got this idea that it could be beyond just his family possibly being connected to organized crime, which feels a little bit like that Amazing Spider-Man angle. So I hope they get that right differently than the Amazing Spider-Man did. But this idea here is, look, you've got a black Catwoman.
You've got this idea that he's trying to kind of figure out where he's at right now in his life. If he finds out his parents were a part of or connected to the crime syndicate in some way, then there comes this idea of Riddler coming through. Maybe the Riddler's pushing the white privilege idea. This is how you're part of this situation because you're one of these rich guys not doing much or blah, blah, blah. So there's all of this that could play into the whole overall storyline that'll feel very topical as hell, and it'll get people to be even more excited. I mean, if you're going to take another shot at Batman, you can't just walk the same path that's already been walked. You've got to do something that feels new, that feels from this generation, right, from the younger generation's point of view about the Batman. And I think all of that was nailed perfectly in this trailer. Are there anything that you saw in this trailer that made you pause or made you hesitate about this, or gave you a little bit of cautionary optimism on it?
Nothing made me cautionary. The one part where I kind of was like, I wonder what this is about was, and I was looking online, and a lot of people have a lot of opinions on this, but that gang of thugs that he fights, clown makeup. Yeah. People are like, oh God, the Joker's in the movie, which I don't think the Joker's in the movie. Right. But I am curious, like some people are like, well, the Penguin's henchmen were always all dressed in black and white, so these are the Penguin's goons. Some people are saying, well, this means that the Joker's already in play, but even if like they'll come in at the end of the movie. Some people are saying these are Penguin's goons, but maybe the Joker is going to come out of this. So, I think that with Batman, it's tough. Like iconography is a big deal in the Batman, and when you have a bunch of people in clown makeup, I was like, are they taking the idea from Batman Beyond that there's gangs called the Jokers? Like there's a lot of what it could be. So that was the one thing. Everything else I kind of like clocked as, oh, that's Penguin. Riddler is doing this with it. Catwoman, I got it. Everything I kind of got a sense of like I think where that is, and they were like sort of, I don't know where this fits in everything and what this says about stuff, but I'm curious to see what it is. But I don't quite know what it is yet.
Did anything for you guys? Anything give you pause?
Well, I mean, there was one particular shot, and they are early on in production. There was one particular shot of Batman zipping up through the stairwell that was looked like a Steadicam shot, and I'm like, that was kind of weird. It's a little too perfect.
This is we differ so much. Like I see that. Like I'm so used to a Batman film. I want something new. How many times have we seen him grapple up something? And I saw that. That was one moment in the trailer. I was like, oh yes. Like it was something different. They attached the camera to follow him up.
What were you like?
I was like, oh yes.
There you go. Reaction for the fans.
That was the No Man Land and Wonder Woman reaction of Mike Kalinowski in a theater full of people. Yes! But that was the only shot that I'm like, they'll fix that. Like it won't look quite as Steadicam-y. I'm just so curious if that guy that we saw is Colin Farrell under a ton of prosthetics.
Someone else took another picture, and look at his eyes. That's him.
It's absolutely him. They wouldn't put him in focus like that.
Oh, but my God, was that perfect?
I just recall our conversation many months back when Colin Farrell was cast as the Penguin, and I was like, I hope they give him a nose. And I was poo-pooed on. I'm like, why does he need the nose? Why does he need the nose? You see him in the trailer? I was right.
I love.
Vindication for Shannon McClung. Yeah,
I love the fact that they had said this is 25 to 30% of the movie they've shot, and we got that much. Like that's insane to me, and it looked that polished.
This may surprise you, Kalinowski, but sometimes directors lie. I just don't believe it when they come in and say, "Oh, we barely had enough time to shoot anything, but here's 20 minutes."
We saw the first shots of them on set. We knew, okay, they're starting filming.
Yeah, but they were shooting for like 3 months. They were shooting for like 3 months.
No way. February. They started in February.
All right.
Well, and it's let me ask you this real quick. Let me ask you this. Because I saw a lot of people about this. Do you guys feel
riddle me this? Yeah.
Because films like The Dark Knight and Nolan's trilogy have cemented Batman so much. I saw so many fans like, the suit looks like crap. He's a billionaire and that's what he affords. I'm like, are you just because you assume what they did with Nolan and his company created that suit? That was all new, what Nolan did, and found a way to authenticate the suit. Batman in year one was tights and a belt. It was like a pouch belt from a hardware store. It's like, that's real. He doesn't know with his money. He doesn't have they're not doing the Nolan thing. So do you guys feel people are so entrenched with the Nolan version that anything now out of the ordinary is like, nah, that's not Batman?
I don't think that's what it is. I think that one of the truest things, we used to say this at Hasbro all the time. There is a it's the same every time. When you reboot something, when you have a new look for an animated series, when you pick a new character and do it, this is the natural progression of fans. I hate it. What the fuck is this? The last thing that I saw was better than this. Then the thing comes out and you go, it's fine. I see why they did it. It's okay. I really like it. This is my version of it. This is amazing. Then the next one comes out and they go, I hate it. Why the fuck did they do it? The last one was better. It's okay. It's fine. Like, this is literally. I wish every version of Ninja Turtles, every version of Transformers, every version of Batman,
every Doctor Who,
goes with the actor. I'm used to it with the actor. I mean, I remember 2013. Affleck, F this bolt, now this, and now everyone, Affleck's the greatest Batman of all time to them. They're crapping on Pattinson, not sensible people. And now there's Sparkle Batman, emo Batman, and I'm sure 2 years from now, Pattinson was the best thing ever. Oh my God, there is no Batman.
Right. Well, I mean, that moment when he kicks the crap out of that guy,
beat that boy senseless.
That was like, for me, who loves vengeance movies, that was glorious. It was beautiful. I mean, it was beautiful.
That was very cathartic for John.
Absolutely.
He beat that poor boy
for a number of reasons.
And the one goon in the background going, the one goon who looks like he's going to start crying. Oh, man.
But it was very reminiscent of Dark Knight Returns. It's just a little bit of an allusion to Dark Knight Returns too. Those guys who are all breath and Batman like kicks the crap out of the one guy to show, and then they all become sons of the Batman. You know, that's that kind of thing, that vibe. And you're right, what you said earlier, Mike. This Kalinowski, this idea that Gotham is character. Reeves saying that in the Telltale Things. One of the things that Gordon says is. I sometimes feel like the entire city is a crime scene, right? So if that's the vibe they're going for, because look, Joel Schumacher and Tim Burton also turned Gotham into a character. She's not a character in Schumacher's films that we enjoyed overall.
Joel Schumacher turned Gotham into a drunk drag queen at a Vegas show.
Fair.
But it's still a character. It's a character.
It's a character.
We can talk about this all day, but I do think at least with Batman Begins, they did shoot it in England, and the Narrows created a character. Dark Knight was Chicago, and they didn't do a darn thing to change it. I mean, that's why for me, the Batman Begins is the best of his trilogy.
Yeah,
it just is.
I just finished Dark Knight Rises again 2 weeks ago. Shannon knows this, and it's very much that's Gotham. That New York City is Gotham. Yeah. That's Gotham, and so at least you get that, if nothing else, in the movie. Oh, stop. Yeah. All right, let me jump into some more of these Streamlabs and Super Chats. And so basically, it's our favorite trailer so far.
Batman was absolutely my highlight of the day, hands down, by a mile. I was floored.
Okay, Shannon, same thing. Kalinowski, same thing.
It's my top trailer. Yeah,
agreed.
I think that's a unanimous thing. Wiley Henry says, with Black Panther, Blade, Falcon, and Miles Morales in Marvel, what would be your first choice for a black hero from DC, guys?
May I take the floor?
Yes, of course.
I've always said this. I think the Green Lantern film should be a Jon Stewart, Hal Jordan training day film with Hal Jordan being older. And that's why for a long time, Tom Cruise was attached. Like him as an old mentor, Green Lantern, to a young Jon Stewart, and make it Jon Stewart's film. Whether Hal passes away, hands off the mantle at the end of the film, and then he goes up. But make it like a training day.
You want Hal being corrupt, trying to make him?
I don't know so much. I meant more like a day, like the older veteran training the guy throughout the galaxy.
Gotcha.
And let Jon Stewart. So Jon Stewart, I think, and he's so beloved by so many from the animated series. Yeah, Jon Stewart.
Certainly, Tyrese loves him. Mike, what's your thoughts?
No, Tyrese exposition. You mean I got this ring and I'm gonna use my will to make things? Tyrese exposition. Jesus.
Michael?
I would say Vixen.
Oh, nice choice.
Vixen would be my choice. I think I think she has like this amazingly awesome superpower that has never quite been translated in the way that it could be translated. And I think like she's just got kind of a cool story. She's gorgeous. I just think like she should in every way be sort of DC's Storm, and she's not, and she should be. And I think that like giving her due and really kind of finding the right movie to put her front and center would be amazing.
Okay, Mike. Shannon.
Based off of Justice League Unlimited, I'd really like to see Steel. Personally, I would really love to see. I'd really love to see a jacked up The guy from Moonlight, not Andre, but the other guy, Trevante Rhodes.
Yeah, Trevante
Rhodes as Steel with Cavill's Superman. I think that would look like a good pair. I'd love to see that sort of homage that Superman's goodness has started to infect the rest of the world, and you're starting to have these people kind of mimic him almost.
Well, look, at the risk of being a little bit of a cheat, I mean, Cyborg is the one. I mean, I've always wanted to see a Cyborg standalone. Ray Fisher said that there were conversations about it. Cyborg's been one of those people that's been able to stand out no matter where you've put him. Kari Payton voicing him over in the Teen Titans series has been fantastic. And then seeing what Ray Fisher did in the limited amount of time he had, I loved him as Cyborg in those movies. So, yeah. So, like, hearing that he might have more, and we'll talk about that later when we get to this awesome trailer. We'll talk about that later, how well and how that vibe overall was for me. But if Black Lightning wasn't already doing so well on the WB, I would be down with the Black Lightning live action. I mean, like a full theater thing. You know what I'm saying?
Of course. Yep.
I would love that.
But I love, like, I got to write Black Lightning a little bit in season 3 of Young Justice.
Oh, did you?
But no, what I was going to say is, because I know Shannon, when I was talking about it, because he just started watching season 3 of Young Justice on DC Direct.
Plug.
And I think Black Lightning, I think the show on CW is actually spectacular.
Yeah.
And I think he's super, super attractive. But Black Lightning's arc in season 3 of Young Justice is also really amazing. And what they do with him as a character is really, really cool. So if you are a Black Lightning fan and you haven't checked out Young Justice season 3, definitely check it out, because I think Black Lightning is really front and center in an awesome way. And they introduce Cyborg and bring him in a really great way as well.
I mean, Icon is interesting. Aqualad could be fun if you throw him into the Aquaman series or introduce him in the Aquaman series. What can you do with that?
Yeah, Calderon is something that, like, when he first came out in Young Justice, people didn't quite know what to make of him, and he's really sort of he hasn't quite broken through in the way that, like, a Harley Quinn has, but Calderon has definitely, like, earned his place in DC in a very big way. Like, people really, really like him. And you got a Black character and you got an LGBT character there, so it's great.
That's a great point. 2 for 1. Why not? Josh W says, I think Nolan made a great couple of Batman movies, but he wasn't a fan. He did it to make passion projects. Reeves is passionate about Batman, and it shows. I think that's an unfair knock on Nolan. I don't think you do as great of a trilogy as he did if he didn't love the character or find a new way into the character. I mean, for pretty much 95% of the nerddom, The Dark Knight is considered the greatest superhero film ever made. So,
yeah, but based on what Reeves said yesterday, I think he would agree with that comment.
Yeah.
Nolan had said he was
he
did like the comics, but he had to find his own way into it and to make it work from. Whereas Reeves was just like this. It's right. It's itself. I just have my take on it.
Right.
It's two different filmmakers. So it's going to be one. And now they've said, Reeves said he wants a trilogy. He said that,
I think he pitched it as a trilogy.
Hey, and you see that now. You see being all these villains. People are always like, "Oh, there's 3 villains in it. That's too much." And Falcone too. It's like, no, it's not. It's their characters. They're not.
He's laying the groundwork for what is to come.
Like back when we were kids, and you would have these movies come out, and it would all have 2 villains in it, and it was always a shit show. Like, I understand the thinking of this is too many characters, or it takes away from Batman. Like, there is truth to that from when we were younger.
Yeah.
Right. Nolan has thrown that out of the water. Reeves, just based on the trailer, looks like he's thrown it out of the water. Like, if they all play off of each other in the right way, and what I really like that Reeves said in the piece on the Batman, I know we're not talking about the Batman anymore, but we're still talking about the Batman.
Yeah.
But I the way he kind of said that there's just this inevitability, that there's just this, like, it's like a ball rolling down a hill. Like, there's this you just see it happening, that what the Riddler is doing and what Bruce is doing and what Catwoman is doing and what Penguin is doing, that there just gets to be this momentum where it's just inevitable that all these things are going to collide. And that's from a screenplay standpoint. If you can make that work, if you can have all those things, if you put a bunch of things in play in your first act, let them go in the second act, and you get to the third act and there's just this inevitability to it, like, that's a win. And it looks like he knew what he's doing. And based on his experience with Apes, if you can make me, like, fucking cry for Apes, like, you can make this work easy.
That's a fair point. All right, we got almost 800 of you watching us live. This is incredible. Please hit that like button. We're still only at 100 or 231 likes. Remember, 500 likes means Kalinowski takes off his shirt. So please, let's get to 500 likes.
Off.
Yeah, all right. 1,000 likes will take it all off. I'm down. And Mike will drive over there to make sure he is fully naked. All right, and let's get to some.
I'll be back.
Let's get into some Streamlabs real quick before we jump to the next subject, and that is the Suicide Squad stuff. Let's see. Chad Patterson said DC. Okay, we talked about that. So Cinema Gorilla said, P.S. regarding Pattinson's "I am vengeance" line, everyone loves. Batman seeks justice, but okay, maybe he'll get there. Right, Cinema Gorilla, you got to be patient. It's only its second year. Were you the same person you were the second year you started doing something? I mean, it's like this kind of thing has to be factored in mentally for people too.
What Shannon's point was, like, Batman's mission when he starts out is pretty much vengeance. Like, his parents died.
Yes,
and
he's working stuff out.
And I think that, kind of to Shannon's point, like, to address this, like, if he thinks his mission is vengeance, and what the Riddler is kind of leading him down this whole thing, and this is a journey that he realizes what he's avenging is not worthy or not right or is not going to get him what he wants. And this is the movie where he understands the difference between vengeance and justice. That could be a really great arc.
Yeah. And then the Riddler is revealed as his illegitimate brother. I think that's totally in play here. Cinema Gorilla says, Fandom showed what people have been getting wrong about DC Universe app this whole time, especially DC Daily Show. They produce quality interviews, newsreels, and fan promos, and we got that every day at DC Daily. Shout out to the hosts who were not there. Of course, Tiffany was there, and a couple other hosts were able to take the reins there too. Mike Shea said, listening to Matt Reeves talk, you can tell he's making a movie that he would want to see. This is a director who's not making a film for the box office. He's making it for the fans. Do you guys agree?
100%. Again, I feel like this. I'll be curious to see what the merchandise looks like that goes along with this movie. Riddler with duct tape.
Yeah, well, there's the thing. Any complaints about the look of Riddler in this? We don't have the bowler hat or the the too tight.
I think it's too early to say.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if he'll have a bowler hat, but I think the outfit he was on, he had the green jacket on. I think that's as close a nod as we're going to get at this juncture. Right. I don't think he's going to be in a unitard with question marks all over him.
All right.
Probably not.
All right. Wayne Edwards donated. Thank you, Wayne, for the very kind donations. The DC Fandome was awesome. I enjoyed just about everything. The Snyder Cut trailer was the highlight. I was really surprised that Milestone is returning. Icon, Hardware, Static, and Blood Syndicate were my favorites when I was a young black nerd in the 90s. Shout out, Wayne. That's awesome. You guys, any thoughts on that?
No, I think it's awesome.
It's awesome.
I wasn't as big into Milestone, but I read some of it and I was kind of into it. And like most people, my way into a lot of those characters was Static Shock on Kids WB or CW or whatever it was.
Right.
But props to you for being a fan. And like kind of to Kalinowski's point, for as much as I enjoyed the stuff that I did read, I'm actually really looking forward to diving into it in a bigger way.
Yeah.
Agreed. Fresh eyes.
Absolutely. Wiley Henry said, my choice, Vixen, when we were having a conversation about that. Josh W. donated. We already read that one. Takeon of the Source says, now that we know the Terrence Winter Gotham series will be focusing on the Gotham's introduction to the myth of Batman and isn't a prequel set in the past like Gotham was, how excited are you guys for it? And do you think Pattinson will make an appearance, gentlemen?
Gotham Central is one of the best series I've read, and I was turned on to that by Vogel. He had selling it as a hey, here's a Batman comic that Batman's not really in. I was like, pass. But reading the first issue, I was like, oh my god, this is great. This is the people on the ground, how they have to interact in this world of crazies that Batman has ushered in. I think a series tackling that is, I mean, it's not a prequel in that it takes place 20 years before, but if it is sort of, maybe it's Batman year one. But I kind of doubt Pattinson will pop up. But that's just my gut. I think he's talked about. I don't think we see him.
Okay. I think I would disagree. I think one of the benefits of Matt Reeves clearly being so excited about this show, that the creative, this is not the Batman is going to do really well and Warner Brothers or AT&T as a company says we should do this from a synergy standpoint. This is clearly a creative, this is a piece of what I want to do. It's not, I wouldn't say it's a high likelihood, but I wouldn't be surprised if I don't think he's going to be a regular, but I think that you're going to have a lot of the police working around Batman, working with we got there and Batman clearly just left and all those kinds of things. But I think that you might have a moment where he shows up and it'll be like one of those really cool geek moments. I can see.
Right. But do you think Batman is going to show up or Pattinson?
If they do it, if they do it, it's not going to be another actor. If Batman shows up, it'll be Pattinson. I would bet.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I remember GCPD when it came out, and it was pitched that way. And there's no Batman in this. I read it for the first 2 years, loved the hell out of it, and I love the characters that popped up in The Dark Knight when they popped up. Of course, they turned them in a little bit more darker or corrupt, but I like that they were there at least, so they understood that there was a power in that story to tell. For sure. So seeing it come out in this series, I think will be fun because I fucking hated Gotham. All right. Wait.
You and me too, brother.
I mean,
when the fact that they pitched that like as a Gotham Central, what we're getting and what we got.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say this about that show, because I want to give it credit, is it in New York, shooting New York, they made that look like Gotham.
Sure.
The production design on that show was phenomenal. And anytime I did watch, I was like, it looks great. That's a great looking city and great sets. The police department was a great set, but everything else in that show, oh boy.
Every time go ahead, Mike.
What's up?
Mike?
Vogel?
I was saying Gotham Central was not my jam. That's all.
The comic or the TV show?
No, you're Gotham, not Gotham Central.
Gotham. Sorry.
Yeah.
Central Gotham, I watched like 4 episodes and I was like, bitch, get out of here.
Now, you guys, you don't say that if Pattinson shows up, you don't think like, because remember the first issue, first or second, it was like with Mr. Freeze, Batman was in it for like a panel, just dropping him off. Like,
I saw
if Batman, they'll use the suit with a guy, and you'll see him go off.
Maybe.
I think they will do that. Here's what I think. I think if it was me doing it, and if the big win is that you pretty regularly can have like a stunt double in the suit. You basically have the suit, and you really deal with this idea that the police have no relationship with it. Aside from Gordon and a couple people, like the police don't really have a relationship. They show up, there's a crazy villain thing happening, and the police come in and clean it up. And that's very in keeping what Gotham Central, the comic, was about.
Yeah.
And then I think if you have that one moment, it's sweeps week, it's the season finale, it's whatever, and you have that moment with whoever our main characters, because like Reeves said, some of them are from the comics, some of them are new. Whoever our main characters are, have this thing happen where you do come face to face with Batman, and in that moment they get Pattinson to come in. That would be the huge win.
And I think because he did say it in the panel, he said it is year one. It's Batman year one. And I think because, I mean, look at, you've got Jeffrey Wright, Westworld. He loves HBO. I think he's back. I think he is a recurring guest star on that show.
I think that's the more interesting proposition is where does Jeffrey Wright fit into that show versus Pattinson?
Yeah.
What a seamless Gordon in that trailer.
Oh, he looks great.
He looks awesome.
Fantastic.
Shannon, you said he looked chef's kiss. Let me see a chef's kiss.
Wow.
There you go.
Ricardo Quills, I hope I'm saying that right. Ricardo Kalinowski, are you buying a new poster or just adding a Twilight poster right next to it? LOL. Personally,
first of all, it's not a poster. It's a painting. That's a painting, my friend. If they make another one, I wish they would take off Adam West and stick a
you know what? Easy. Nope, easy. I'm gonna come over. All I need is some super glue and some glitter. I'm gonna do Adam West. I'm gonna make him Robert Pattinson. We're good. I got it. I'll be over tomorrow. I'm coming.
All right. Personally, I think Patterson is an amazing actor with tons of charisma. I agree, Ricardo. I think that showed.
I tease him. Listen, I read all 4 Twilight books. I was obsessed. I was a Twihard, so I can't say shit about it.
Twihard?
Yeah. I sat here.
It's 2020, Michael. Open everybody. 2020.
I sat here on my couch reading that book, and I was like, "Oh God, is she gonna pick Edward or Jacob? What's gonna happen?" Like I was.
Wow. Wasn't a tough choice. All right. Yeah.
I think he is actually a better actor, and I think the person who hates him in those movies more than anybody is Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, probably.
He clearly.
And I think that was one of the gifts of the trailer is they didn't pretty him up. They did not pretty him up. Even that scene in that scene where the car comes in the funeral scene, he doesn't look pretty. He's angular. He's gaunt. His hair is down. Like they're going very clearly into this direction that they don't want a pretty Batman.
I feel like in this area, I have more expertise than.
I apologize. Yes, of course.
I would still say he's a very attractive Batman.
Fair enough. I apologize profusely. All right, let's move on to Wayne Edwards saying, I also, another donation. Thank you, Wayne. It's very kind of you. He said, also, I want to thank you guys for doing this. I was looking forward to hearing the Geek Buddies' thoughts. I would follow Rocha to hell and back. Thank you. Love and respect the outlaw. That being said, I like the rest of you guys quite a bit as well. Oh, thank you, Wayne. Very kind.
Thanks.
Real quick, Andrew Hale says, guys, it's 700 views. Actually, we're up to 830 people watching us live right now. Let's get those likes up. DC Fandome was amazing. I agree, guys. Please swing that cursor button over, or that mouse button, or whatever you want to call it, and hit that thumbs up button on the. We're at 275 likes. Would love to get to 500 likes. Kalinowski takes his shirt off. We said it. Let's see.
700 likes. Kalinowski puts the Batman cowl on.
That's right. And he puts on the underoos, the old underoos.
That suit's too damn hot. Jesus,
Carol donated, says, do any of you watch Lucifer? I was surprised they're saving that panel for September, considering season 5 dropped on Friday. This goes back to Michael's point. Maybe they felt they didn't have enough for these other panels, or maybe they didn't want these other panels to be lost in the mix. Maybe there was a decision made at the last minute there. Mike, what do you think about this? Do you watch Lucifer, and do you think they moved it for a reason?
I do not watch Lucifer.
Okay.
I also think that they just had a big glitch and could not actually get the interface to work. But that is what I feel.
That's not out of the realm of possibility. Lord knows. I've seen some of these tech things. Their eyes get bigger than their abilities. Let's see. Eric Stevens says he donated through Super Chat. I don't think I can find it. He said, not trying to start any fights, but is there ever a time when audiences will get tired of standalone Batman movies? So many iterations at this point.
I mean, are there so many iterations? This will be the third. I mean, because I don't think you can really count Batfleck, because he was not in his own movie. Like, he was sharing it with Superman.
Keaton, Kilmer, Clooney, Bale, Affleck.
Yeah, but Keaton, Kilmer, Clooney, that's all part of the same one. That's not three different.
Gentlemen,
still a different Batman.
Gentlemen, Adam West. Don't leave off Adam West.
That
was a theatrical release.
Wait a minute. No matter which way you slice it, out of all of the superheroes in existence, you have Adam West, you have Keaton, you have Kilmer, you have Clooney, you have Bale. You have Batfleck, and now you have Pattinson. You have 7 different guys,
right?
And that's not even getting into Conroy. Like, there clearly been more takes to say that, like, it's a valid question. There have been more takes on Batman than any other hero, with Spider-Man as a close second.
And to your point, there's been 6 decades of James Bond. We've had more Batmans than we've had Bonds.
Please, we've had more Doctor Who's than we've had anything.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't. To answer your question, I don't think Batman is the mint for DC. I don't think people ever get tired of it. I mean, gosh, there was a time after the Batman and Robin, there was a really kind of dark period where there was no films, there was no excitement. The only thing we had really going was Batman Beyond, the cartoon. And there was talk of like Aronofsky's Year One. If you've ever read that script, if you want to think what we're getting now is weird and different, man, with a black Alfred named Big Al, and Batman had a metal grill for teeth, that's a movie, man. So they went through a period before Nolan stepped in.
Yeah, that wasn't Batman. That was Bite Man.
It was interesting, man. I don't think that as long as we don't.
Jesus
We've
Christ,
gone over that.
That is that's a grandfather joke. Yeah,
I don't think so. Okay. But to your point, it's why can they do Batman and everyone shows up, but then Superman, they're just keep faltering with it. So it's a
weird conundrum, man.
It's a weird one. I don't know. I have no answers for that one.
I have an answer for that. I mean, look, I think I don't think people get tired of these characters because DC, even more so than Marvel, DC it's really our modern day mythology. I mean, all comic book superheroes are our modern day mythology, but Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Lantern, like these are like iconic characters. Like these are just on a higher level, and so there's lots of room for interpretation. I think Batman works the best is because you have so much to play with. There's so many different takes on him. Is he a gothic figure of horror? Is he the world's greatest detective? Is he a tech genius? There's so many ways to take it and play with him, and he clearly has the best rogues gallery in all of his books, hands down by a mile.
Mike, to your point, like I consume Batman almost every day, some kind of form of it, and it was like last night I'm sitting in bed and I'm looking at the 2 Batsuits I have in my bedroom and I'm like, okay, how can I modify that one? What can I do with this? Because it reinvigorated a new fire in me. I was like, I want to build a new suit now. And this film, when I heard they were doing Batman, it's like, finally, we're going to get Batman. He's going to be like 5-6 years in his career. He's going to have a bat cave. It's going to have the T-Rex in it. It's going to have the giant penny. It's going to have, his, training area. It's going to be, and we're not getting any of that. Now, could I be the fans like, I'm not getting what I wanted? And bullshit. No, they don't know what to do. It's like, no, this is a different take. Not what I wanted.
And if it's a trilogy, it'll get there, don't you think? Yeah.
Because I want people ask me like, what is my interpretation of Batman? What would be the iconic? Like, I've seen bits and pieces, like Affleck, the way he fights. That's Batman.
Yeah.
You know, Keaton's Batcave. That Batcave was awesome. To me, the Arkham games, if you guys played those, the Arkham games, that is Batman. They just everything. We haven't seen it on screen yet, but I'm okay with that because there's so many different versions of the character out there. I got my video game. I could pop it in if I want to play that. You know, what we're getting on the screen is different than what I wanted, but it's something new and it's cool.
Should we talk about any of the other stuff that happened?
I know. I'm getting there.
You made a mistake having me on, guys. I could go for hours. You know that.
We got over 830 people watching, brother. We got to steer this thing as we can. All right. Josh W says, do you think the reason for no Suicide Squad trailer versus having a Batman trailer comes down to CGI versus practical effects being used? So let's jump into that next, and then we'll jump into the Wonder Woman trailer afterwards. But the Suicide Squad trailer is the other one, and I think it is about that possibly, but we should talk about this as well. So much happened with the Suicide Squad stuff that was dropped here. This is the image from that an awesome image from that trailer. So many people were introduced who are new to the Suicide Squad universe through that kind of mini trailer, and they released a behind the scenes featurette with James Gunn talking about his experiences making, which looked awesome. So overall, what were your thoughts about this? Shannon, let's go with you first. Shannon, what do you think?
What, for Suicide Squad?
Yeah, for the Suicide Squad, yes.
I mean, there are so
As
many
a presentation, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're the things that they chose to show us for the Suicide Squad, where they had the roll call of a lot of characters, because, you know, there had been a few that had been confirmed, but a lot of them they hadn't. So we get to see all of these very, very deep cut villains that for a handful, like I definitely had to go to Google and be like, who's this? Who's this? Who's this? But I loved seeing the behind the scenes thing. I thought that was great because we had a swing at Suicide Squad before. For most people, I would say that they thought it was a miss. Yep. So I think having the behind the scenes, getting to hear from the filmmaker and saying, this is what we are doing with this movie. I think there's a little bit of a bad taste that has to be washed out of people's mouths. Yeah. But also you get to see just the wackiness, James Gunn fun that it looks like they are going to have in this movie. I thought what they released was pitch perfect.
Yep. Vogel.
Same. I am so excited for Suicide Squad to see what James Gunn does with it. And I hated the first Suicide Squad. I hated the Suicide Squad. I liked Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie is like magical clown makeup Teflon to me, is that she's been Harley Quinn in a couple movies that I don't really care for the movies, but I will watch her play Harley Quinn and I'm good.
You didn't like Birds of Prey?
I don't really like Birds of Prey, no. You all right? You gonna be okay? To talk about this offline?
I just saw the rest of his beard just go full of gray.
I very much like most of
that movie was a Michael Vogel movie. Give to you.
How do you feel about that, Mikey?
I feel damn it. I feel like Michael Vogel movies have some don't have quite so many story issues. But we can talk about that later. But I very much like women in Birds of Prey. Yeah. That being said, what I think that James Gunn is the guy to do this the right way. I think he's got that sort of Marvel pedigree. He clearly knows what he's done over there. He's taken a lot of what he's done. He's bringing it over to DC. And I think this is just going to be a win. I think he loves these weird, obscure characters. He took characters that nobody knew in the Marvel universe and made them literally the most beloved characters. And I think what I liked the most, actually, I thought the roll call was great. I thought the behind the scenes thing was great, but I always love to see how the actors and the director always play on a panel. And even though I thought all the panels at DC Fandome were great, having been on panels, I know how much is sort of planned ahead of time and say this and you say this, and then you're going to say this funny thing. And you can sort of see that sometimes when you watch the panels, you're like, all right, you're all getting along really well. This is sort of the rehearsed version. And the whole sort of game that they played and the way that the whole cast was teasing each other and making fun of Michael Rooker. And the whole thing was just these people are having such a blast doing this that they must have had a fucking blast. Yep. Also, Taika Waititi's clearly going to be King Shark, right? That's what I think. Yeah. They no one said they didn't they announced the whole who's playing who, right. And Taika Waititi's in the cast, but he wasn't there and he didn't mention anything. Yeah. But King Shark, they didn't say much about him. Is he the voice of King Shark? I don't know.
So let's here's the first. This was shared by Gunn on Twitter, right? Idris Elba, he's playing Bloodsport. Margot Robbie back as Harley Quinn, Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. Sean Gunn playing Weasel. That was a surprise to me.
Oh my God.
Pete Davidson playing Blackguard, also a surprise. Daniel Melchior plays Ratcatcher 2. Joel Kinnaman back as Rick Flag. Nathan Fillion as TDK. Jai Courtney back as Captain Boomerang and looking great. Steve Agee playing the onset King Shark and John Economos. So I don't know what that means. Mei-Ling Eng playing Mongol. David Desmalchian looking great as Polka Dot Man. Alice Braga also with New Mutants coming out this week. She's playing Sol Soria. John Cena, Peacemaker. God, he's such a beast. Juan Diego Boto playing President. General Silvio Luna. Peter Capaldi as the Thinker was awesome. Michael Rooker as Savant. Flula Borg as Javelin. Joaquin Cosio as Mayor General Mateo Suarez. Jennifer Holland, Amelia Harcourt, and Storm Reed playing Tyler. So that's a fucking great, hell of a cast, and all over the place. So clearly this is going to go into a Latino area or something. So I want to see more of wherever they're going to go here in that way. But like overall, I love the way they introduced it. This is the way to, as Shannon said, to wash the taste out of your mouth. It's a whole new approach. That featurette also lets you feel like, okay, this is a completely different take on this. It's a whole new team in essence almost. So I can just sit back and relax and like be reintroduced to the Suicide Squad through this version, and that excites me like crazy.
Yeah, I think, but on the other hand, I mean, they did keep the kind of same poppy vibe. Their faces are the graphic with the kind of interesting character, which they did with the original one. They kept if they had gotten rid of Viola Davis and Joel Kinnaman, I was like, okay, and Jai Courtney, I was like, okay, this is a new, but it's like, nope, they're still the team. What I loved, and people are kind of ragging on. They think James Gunn's making a dig at Marvel where he's constantly saying, I've had the most fun I've ever had on this film. And I would say, you know, if he's going back for Guardians 3, so there's no love lost there. I just think this was like, I don't think, like with Guardians 2 especially, he was like, you've got to hit A, B, and C box in your film, and you've got to knock all these characters out, tell your story, but make sure you hit all this. DC, I just like, hey, forget that movie. You don't connect to this. Just go and have fun with what you want to do. And I think that's why he's saying this is the most fun I've ever had ever on a movie. And people are saying like it's a dig at Marvel. I don't think so. He knows what he's getting into with Marvel.
I hate to like break this to everyone in the world, but like outside of Twitter and the fandoms fighting, the people working at Marvel and DC on the movies and the comics and everything actually don't have near the level of competition or hate that I do on Twitter. Like it just doesn't actually exist. Like that's what everyone's pretty cool. Like because if superhero movies fail, like if DC just had like bomb after bomb after bomb after bomb, it's actually bad for Marvel too. Like then you get all the articles about superhero fatigue and everything. Like if everyone is on their A game and everyone is killing it, everyone is great. Like there's not a lot of like oh fuck you, how dare you show up at fandom? What did you mean by that? It doesn't happen.
James Gunn proves that point, doesn't it, Mike? I mean, he went from DC to, from Marvel to DC. Now he's going back to Marvel again. Back. No one has any issues about it on either side.
Did you guys notice this? Because this was really kind of cool to see. Because it seems like we've got at least 13 members of a squad there, and some of them in those shots are these bright, cheesy, cosplay-looking costumes, and the others are these gritty ones. I think the squad is going to pull kind of an about face and trying to be a public face, like, hey, we're the good guys, kind of like if you read the Thunderbolts in Marvel, where it's the bad guys masquerading. Like, I think Viola Davis are going to try and pimp these guys. It's like, oh, they're heroes. Something goes. I think we play up the whole Latin aspect of it down in Latin America. Yeah, the current storyline has them going in and kind of putting in a new dictator for the American government that the American government can use as a puppet. So I think this is going to play into that, and then of course stuff goes awry. And then they got to send in the real bad guys, the real, blood sport. Harley Quinn's got to go back in there. Yeah. So there's two dichotomies happening with these teams, and it's very fascinating. I love it.
I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Like,
here we go.
I just think I think James Gunn is just going for batshit insanity. I mean, he talked a lot about like his vibe for like the 70s movies and stuff like that. And I think he's just going for over the top. Now you might have like the team is split up into you guys are doing this and you guys are doing this, but I think it's like a little too early after sort of kind of to Shannon's point, washing the stink off of Suicide Squad. Like I think you still need to really sell what Suicide Squad is, which is like you are the bad guys who are going in to do what needs to get done that the heroes won't. And I think if you get into like, oh, well, you guys are going to be the front facing and we're going to make you look like I think that starts to get a little complicated. And I feel like this is just going to just straightforward balls to the wall.
What do you think? Why do you think some people's costumes look very cheesy, very superficial, and the others are real kind of tactical.
Like Cena's costume.
Cena's costume looks like you bought it at a party supermarket. It looks awful.
Who is as tactical besides Idris?
Harley's
tactical.
Right,
no, look at her thing. Look at her thing compared to what she's worn in the past.
That's the suspension of disbelief you have to have with Harley.
Captain Boomerang's got a new one.
Harley back to sort of more comics accurate.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's just.
Right.
Look at them next to each other. There's two distinct teams in there.
Well, here's what
saying.
Haskell's saying. Maybe the first colorful team goes in and gets their asses kicked and killed. Then they send in the tougher team.
That team with TDK, they're done. They're killed in the beginning.
That is absolutely what I was texting with Vogel about this yesterday. I'm like, here's who I think is going to be cannon fodder at the beginning.
Javelin Man's done. He's gone. First 10 minutes, done.
What about Polka Dot Man? Not Polka Dot Man for God's
sake. Polka Dot Man's going in.
I think he's
going all the way to the end.
Right.
I think he's staying.
World's toughest squad. He's going to survive at the end. I like that. Okay, agreed. All right, let's move on to another thing. I don't have too many Streamlabs and Super Chats. I want to save those as we get to more of the rest of the stuff here. Let's move on to our next one. That's definitely Wonder Woman 84. They dropped a new trailer for this. We got way more Cheetah than we've gotten before. Kristen Wiig kind of standing out in this trailer. Of course, we're getting Wonder Woman and those wings. We get Steve Trevor. There's a little more of a connection there. A humorous moment at the end of the trailer with fanny packs and parachute pants. But overall, this was just more of what we've seen before, this strong feeling that this is going to be a fun sequel. She's riding the lightning. She's having these battles. She's showing Steve what she can do. But I think what stood out for me was that Cheetah. We've got an idea now of what's happening here. Her angle is, which I think is a little bit of a tired angle, which makes me a little cautious, is, you get all the things, I don't get anything, I'm going to be a villain. It's a little syndrome-ish. And so I'm like, okay, how are we going to make this unique and interesting? And I trust Patty Jenkins to find a way to make it unique and interesting. I didn't like the CG on Cheetah near the end, but I liked her confronting Wonder Woman and pushing past her powers. The Maxwell Lord stuff with Pedro Pascal, I thought worked really well. So I'm still a little bit out on Kristen Wiig, but this pushed me way further in than I anticipated. Kalinowski, what did you think? Or I'm sorry, Vogel, why don't you take this one? Okay.
Got a little bit of the tingles of worry.
Right?
Okay. I'm still excited. I think Wonder Woman is still like DC's best. I really liked the first trailer because of the 80s music and the vibe of it. I think like the style of that trailer was great. I think that this trailer, there's a lot going on. Kind of, to what we were talking about with the Batman movies and how they can have a lot of villains, but if everything is working in sync, it's great. And that might be the case here. And this movie be great. And I hope it is. Like, I'm very excited for Wonder Woman 84. I can't wait to see it. But a lot was going on with Maxwell Lord. A lot was going on with Cheetah. Then the Steve Trevor piece. And it seems like whatever Maxwell Lord is doing, that's everyone's dreams can come true. And Diana's dream is to see Steve. And Kristen Wiig's dream is to be an alpha predator. And like, I can see how this can all work together. But like my screenplay sense was tingling a little bit. Like I was like, is it gonna be good or is this gonna be a little bit all over the place? So we'll see. So still super excited, but like that's where like the Batman and Suicide Squad had me just like, I am sold, I am in. And with Wonder Woman 84, I was like, I'm excited. I think don't mess this up for me. It was kind of
I have a question for you, Mike, on that. You said you're excited for Suicide Squad. Your screenplay sense wasn't going off, that you had no sense of what's going on in that film?
There's not enough to say one way or the other. So
okay.
Just
all right.
Like the Wonder Woman 84 trailer came out and I was like, fuck yeah, 80s music. This is great. She's got wings on. Like, I don't care. I'm in. And the second trailer, I could very easily see the full Suicide Squad trailer or the second trailer and go, I don't know. Like when you see something this early in production, Suicide Squad, you're kind of like, I'm going to give James Gunn the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
Work. Patty Jenkins 1000% deserves the benefit of the doubt given what she did with Wonder Woman. So I'm still on board. And I'm not gonna go around and poo-poo Wonder Woman 84 or anything. Like I'm very excited for it. I think the cast is great. Kind of similar to Johnny's reaction on Cheetah. I'm like, okay, that's Cheetah. I'm not mad at it. I'm not blown away by it, but I can see how this would work. It's more just like it's that feeling that you get, like just the tingle in your spine that you're like, I'm not blown away, but I'm not. There's nothing that I would point out to this trailer that was like that was bad. Like there's nothing that I would say this didn't work for me. It's just that little tingle of like I'm getting a little bit nervous, but I'm still very stoked for the movie.
Yeah, what'd you think, Kalinowski, overall?
I'm kind of with Vogel in the sense that I didn't need this trailer. Like the first trailer with that music and the chills of first seeing Steve for the first time, like that got me. I was sold. If I didn't have to see another thing for that movie, I'm on board. Wonder Woman is what I say the gold standard of DCEU. I'm not a Cheetah fan as a comic book character, so I'm much more Maxwell Lord. It's like, but I love Pedro Pascal. But I trust Patty Jenkins to see what she pulled out of Charlize Theron with Monster, and she picked Kristen Wiig for this role. So I'm like, I mean, Gal was not her choice for Wonder Woman. She had came into it. It was, and they fell in love with each other. But this was Patty Jenkins going, I'm casting this. And to see what she does with actors and talented actors and actresses, I'm on board. But yeah, the trailer didn't get me going. But it felt like, okay, that's another summer blockbuster trailer. Hit the big moments. We got the love back in there. It was the summer trailer that we all would expect. But because that first one with the music and in the riding the lightning but I'm on board. That's my favorite movie of the DCU, so I'm on board with them.
Yeah, maybe that's why they led with it, because we've seen it so much already, and maybe they are a little worried, led with it, then move on to other things. Shannon, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, like you guys, I didn't need the trailer. I'm going to see this movie regardless. I loved the first trailer. It was 80s awesomeness, but the first time I think the four of us saw footage from Wonder Woman 84 was like 2 years ago at Comic-Con.
The 6 seconds or 30 seconds or whatever,
it was short, but that footage, and I remember Kalinowski and I having a conversation after, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, this is very early on. The second trailer, I like Kristen Wiig. I think her comedy can be a little too much at times, but I'm actually a fan of her dramatic performance. I think it could be a little much.
Are you taking shots at Target Lady? I'll not have that on this show. I'll not have it on this show.
Hey, man. Hey, shots fired. But I actually think her as a dramatic performer, I actually think she's pretty good.
Yeah.
And getting to see sort of this hurt, whatever she's feeling when she confronts Diana in that museum or where, Diana's taking out those guards, I believed all of that. I'm like, I can absolutely get behind whatever this character is feeling.
Yeah.
Now, when you see her in her CGI form, I started to get Abomination and Incredible Hulk vibes that this first pass doesn't work. So whatever Maxwell Lord gives her, he gives her more of, and it turns her into this.
Now,
That's where I'm a little like, we'll see.
For McClung, to your point there, I hope, because all we saw of her was really a lot of fighting. I hope when it's the scenes talking and interacting, I hope it's her in a costume with prosthetics. I hope she's not in a gray suit when they just CGI'd her. I hope they can prosthetic her. I hope, because that would just believe, because then when they cut to the action, you're like, okay, I'll suspend it for this. They're jumping around to come back to reality.
I feel like it's going to be a process with her. I mean, it just looks like in the course of the movie, like she's going to get abilities before she goes full Cheetah. So I kind of feel like there's going to be a build, and we will see sort of like it'll be Kristen in some makeup, Kristen with some CG effects on her, full CG Cheetah. I feel like it's going to be a process.
You mentioned Maxwell Lord. That's another thing that stood out to me, and we'll move on to the next trailer. But this stood out to me too. At the beginning, it feels like he's the president. He's saying, I'm going to give you this. There's a little bit of a Trump vibe to this idea. Maybe they're playing with that, when he's on the plane, he looks like he's debilitated and he's hanging on to the curtain and all this while Cheetah is standing strong like this. So I wonder if maybe a position has been switched here where she has found a way to control whatever he's been using to give people what they want. Of course, maybe that may be why Steve Trevor shows up. But like that felt to me like maybe that's the angle they're going with, where he like helps her, but she wants more and starts taking that power away from him to use for herself, and maybe goes too far. So that could just the body position he was in was very much a submissive position. So I wonder,
do you just based on Maxwell Lord in the comics, I don't really think so.
Okay,
I think that Cheetah is a little, at least in the way they've kind of done her more recently in Wonder Woman comics, a little bit more of like, a tragic character, a character who wanted something and kind of like got more than she bargained for. And Maxwell Lord, they've really, you know, turned him into just like, you're horrible. You're a horrible person.
Yeah,
horrible,
he's like he's just below Luther.
Woman to break your neck.
Fair point. All right, let's see right here. Robert Streff says, no, you guys are way ahead, but with the Batman and the Riddler greeting card being an owl card, do you think Riddler is a member of the court? Referencing the Court of Owls series that happened in the Batman. What do you guys think?
I went back and forth on that. I noticed it right away, and I was like, given that Reeves wants to do a trilogy, maybe yes, but also maybe it's just an owl at a greeting card. I can't really decide.
I would say no, just for the fact that Montreal Games is doing Court of Owls.
Okay.
I would say no.
And I think Court of Owls could be used later in the trilogy. I don't think the Riddler is a member, though. I think they could maybe be the folks he's pointing at.
But that could be. It could be that. But I also think that, like, just in the same way that sort of what Nolan did with the League of Shadows and Ra's al Ghul, and then coming back to that, and like, it would be amazing if you did find out that Riddler, who has, you know, nothing to do with Court of Owls in the first movie, and then you get to the third movie and you find out that he was, I don't know, like I think that, like I said, with the Joker makeup on those thugs, like in Batman, iconography is so important.
Yeah.
I think that a greeting card with an owl on it, with the Court of Owls being such a big deal, it's hard to say absolutely not to that, but it's too early to say what it could be. So you're just sort of like, yeah, let's ride this ride and see what happens.
All right, let's run through these real quick, and then we'll get into the meat of debate here. Haskell420 says, KO, when do you start making the new bat suit? KO?
I started last night thinking. I was looking at my two suits, and I was like, what can I do next? So, yeah, I'm working on them.
All right, 156 Impulse. Thank you, dude. Good to see you, my brother. Best to your mother. Hope everything is working out there. He said, I'm so excited for the Batman movie. I was behind Robert as Batman from the start. I can't stop watching the Batman trailer. LOL, you guys are awesome. All right, thank you, 156. Karcher donated here. He said, what are your feelings on the JSA being in Black Adam? All right, let's take a moment here. We're not going to spend too much time on Black Adam. We didn't get too much from it other than The Rock doing narration. But, yeah, the Justice Society of America is going to be a part of this. They announced that. I did like what we got for where they're going to go. It seems like he's going to be one of these anti-heroes. You know, no one's ever going to stop me again. I know what's right. I know the right thing to do. So I like that vibe to it, but I got a feeling that I'm going to enjoy the animation a little more than I might enjoy the overall movie when it comes out. So I'm a little worried about that. But I'm a massive Rock fan. I'm just a little worried about it. But I know Drew McWeeny tweeted out that 10 years ago,
I saw that,
when he was on set with The Rock, and I can't remember what movie it was, The Rock apparently quizzed him about Black Adam and just asked him all about it. And Drew's not one of these people that makes up lies to help any of these celebrities or any of these stars. And he said that this has been coming a long time, that The Rock has been interested in Black Adam for quite some time. So that makes me feel comfortable with this situation a little bit more. But what did you guys think overall, A, about the JSA being in Black Adam and the Black Adam stuff we got?
The JSA being in it, awesome. I can't wait to see a big screen incarnation of Hawkman and Cyclone and Atom Smasher and Dr. Fate. I think that's going to be great. Everything that The Rock was saying, I really liked.
Yeah.
I just don't think he has the chops to carry a project like this. And I don't know if we get a Black Adam movie without The Rock. So there's the there's the trade-off.
The conundrum,
Yeah, to go off what Shannon said, like when Hawkman and Dr. Fate got announced, I was like, that was one of those big Comic-Con moments where I would have been next to you guys like, Hawkman, Dr. Fate. I think for me, The Rock, he's so charming. That man was a one-man panel right there by himself.
Oh, yeah.
He's so charming. He walks into a room. Everything he does, I enjoy. But he's reached a point now where when I go see his movies, whether it's Jumanji, Rampage, whatever, I'm watching The Rock as a character, as a character. Like, I miss The Rock of the Rundown days, but that Rock is gone.
Yeah.
You know, where the Black Adam, I need to lose myself in the character, and I don't know if we're going to get that. And that to me is, but like you said, we don't get this movie without The Rock. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what they do. Like even Hercules, which was a character, history of a character, it was like, that's The Rock with a lion on its head.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's a wonderful, the anti-hero. I think That's where Cavill's popping up as Superman eventually. I think that's the next time we're going to see him is in that.
Okay.
Because he teased it.
In the first movie?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think Cavill is.
I love the poster.
How does that work with the JSA? And because when Superman shows up in Man of Steel, there's like
What?
I liked the poster that they released. I said it first. That's a badass poster. I love that. If you get the reference,
he looks great. He looks awesome.
He does.
Yeah, and they set up Black Adam and Shazam. We know the story of the that he was in prison in Power and when he comes back. And interesting, people are saying it's like, okay, since it's JSA, is it the 40s or is it modern day? And I really think it's modern day. I think because we got Atom Smasher, who is modern day JSA. So I think this is going to take place right after Shazam has already happened.
So we are in a shared universe now, or we're not?
It's the multiverse. Didn't you watch that panel? Everything is in play.
Yeah.
But
everything.
Like even this is where. So this is. How do I say this without getting into a DC?
I don't know.
I am sort of like I've been enjoying what DC has been doing recently, so it doesn't bother me that Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is over here and Pattinson's the Batman is over here and Wonder Woman is here and they're going to do what they're going to do with the Snyder cut on HBO Max. Like we're seeing all these heroes in different iterations and different takes and it's not the Marvel way. And I'm super okay with that. And I think they're kind of Suicide Squad with Gunn is over here. Margot Robbie's doing what she's doing. And like it's kind of working. People are really enjoying what they're seeing and it's nice. Yeah. And I think it really works for that tier of heroes.
Yeah.
I think that once you start getting into Black Adam and the JSA, you can't do this without these questions. And we're doing it automatically. You're sitting here and you're saying, well, I think the JSA is modern day and not in the 40s, but I think he's going to fight Superman. And clearly they've set this up in Shazam. So that is one universe, whether it's a multitude of universes or one universe, it is. And until they figure this out, which it sounds like they're going to try and do with Flashpoint, like
which is what the Flash does.
Yes.
It extends the multiple Earths.
Right. But I think that like audiences that are beyond the geek audience and everyone who's listening right now who understands that, I think that the audience can get on board with that for a movie like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Like I think that they can go, I get it. Here's a couple Spider-Mans from different universes. They all came through to do this. If we start getting into Black Adam is in this universe with the JSA, but then he goes over to this universe to fight Superman, but then he's hopping over to this universe for Shazam, but he was always trapped in that universe because they set that up in Shazam, but that's not the JSA universe because the JSA universe is in this universe. Like you start to get a little confusing, and this is where I start to get worried about what they're going to do. So I'm just curious as to what the overall strategy is.
You just confused the hell out of it for even me. Like, no, Shazam is with the DCEU. That is the DCEU. Well, let's call it Earth Prime. That's Earth Prime. Shazam is Earth Prime, Black Adam's Earth Prime, JSA is Earth Prime.
Okay.
Flash is going to go to Keaton's Earth if he wants to do that. So, then there's Joker's, then there's Pattinson's Earth. But all of this is on the one planet. Like JSA, like what's hard to follow, Vogel?
So where was the JSA in the Justice League movie if they were modern day? Why weren't they helping out to save the day?
Maybe they weren't there yet.
But Ben Affleck got all the heroes. He said, these are all the heroes, and we have to go
So maybe it's in the 40s, buddy. I don't know. I don't have those answers. But I'm going to wait and see.
Let's move on. It's too much of a wormhole. Let's move on. All right.
I don't know.
Logan_the Great said, I know this is off topic, but how would you feel about a biopic for Michael Jackson and one for Tupac Shakur? He donated, so I have to read it, but any thoughts on this?
So look, I think Vixen and Static Shock should be in the Michael Jackson biopic.
Oh, boy.
But I think Pattinson should play Tupac.
Fair enough. No, Scarlett Johansson should play Tupac. Everybody knows.
Scarlett Johansson should play everything. By the way, to actually answer the question, I would be shocked if we didn't get biopics on both of them in the next 5 years.
We already had a biopic on Tupac. It was like 2 years ago.
I think there will be more.
Yeah. There definitely will be a Michael Jackson one. But until his entire family dies off, they're never going to tell the actual real story. Mike Shea donated, said Wonder Woman 84 was supposed to have already come and gone pre-COVID, which means the trailer we got was never supposed to exist, which is why I feel like it wasn't the strongest, because it's a trailer we didn't need and frankly never should have gotten.
I think that's accurate.
Yeah, very fair. I mean, Patty's come on. She's like, I wish we could have had our original release date. And this was before COVID. She was and back in February, she's like, we're ready to go. We want to go. I wish we would have kept our original date.
Yeah.
So that movie, it's got to be frustrating. It's finished, but we talked about this a little bit on DC Movie News. I'm so glad they're not doing what Tenet is doing and this slow rollout BS that it's going to get leaked. It's going to kill Tenet, this whole slow rollout. They just changed the posters down here, WB, saying coming in theaters, the Wonder Woman. So they're not going to do this Mulan thing in theaters. It needs to be in theaters.
Yep.
My 2 cents.
That's fair. I agree with you, dude. And I think that's why they might take advantage of that September thing to try to do a heavy promotion for WW80 for Wonder Woman 84. Tushka, I cannot read yours because we're still under the spoiler thing, so I'm not going to read yours, unfortunately, brother. Sorry, but everything else I'll read, which is, hey, nerds, this is awesome. So glad to see Kalinowski on the show, even though he is rude AF to my dude Vogel. I guess he is still in character.
Shut up, rude to Vogel. You don't hear what he says to me. He beats me down. My love of DC, he beats me down. I go into the HR room and he comes in there with his massages and he treats me like shit.
Holy crap!
Beats me down.
You'd be lucky to get a massage from me.
Oh, there it is. All right, before we veer off course, Tacky of the Source donated. He said, "You guys should watch The Rockin' Ballers. He shows much more of his acting rage playing a drug-addicted, bail-popping sports agent allowed him to flex his acting muscles." I
enjoy The Rock. I love The Rock.
Yes, but Ballers is
personality.
But Ballers is freaking what was that show with Adrian Grenier? It's
Entourage.
It's Entourage for freaking sports people, just like Silicon Valley was Entourage for tech nerds. It's the same formula, just different environment. So yes, he did act, but he wasn't doing it.
You mentioned Silicon Valley. Did you know that Shannon McClung was on Silicon Valley?
I'll tell you what.
Has he mentioned that yet?
I heard that. I heard
just making sure.
And The Rock was great in Snitch. Like he has dramatic chops.
Damn good in Snitch. You're right.
To play this man out of time, I'm not so sure.
Let me be honest with you. I'm with Shannon. What he was saying was great. Everything about it was giving me Scorpion King vibes, and that made me nervous.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I'm in the same boat. And look, there's no bigger Rock fan on this entire panel than I am. And I felt the same way too, Michael. So I get exactly what you said.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the granddaddy of them all. That's Zack Snyder's What? What
about the video games?
We got video game stuff.
That's tail end stuff, man. We got to jump into the Zack Snyder
trailer. All right.
Stop trying to defer. This trailer dropped. It was gorgeous. In my opinion, it was beautiful. I loved it. It was dark. It was brutal. The Justice League is in pieces. There's parademons everywhere. We get more of what Zack Snyder was going for. I mean, Aquaman doing the, I'm out in the water. Peace out, bitches. I loved that shit. I loved that we get a little more with the Victor Stone as it was promised. His storyline, heartbreaking that moment with him and Joe Morgan there with the mother box. I just shattered in pieces when I saw that. I liked them using Leonard Cohen's version of Hallelujah because of the double meaning of that song.
Yeah.
Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this trailer. This got me back into what Zack Snyder's going to do. And what people said overall, and I loved it, is Zack Snyder is doing Zack Snyder's version of Justice League. And there is no question about it as you watch this trailer. He's not shaving the edges off. He's not trying to make it palatable. He is doing what he intended to do with this. It's going to be 4 one-hour episodes, and then he'll release it later as a 4-hour movie. So I have to go to Kalinowski first on this one. Mike, thoughts?
Yes, sir. You guys know me. I'm Team Snyder from the get-go. I think I love everything about him. I love his films. So yeah, the trailer, I didn't need to be sold. I didn't need a trailer. I love what we got. I was a little did you guys see the interaction? He kind of went after a critic that morning.
Yeah, went after my friend Scott. He went after Scott at Forbes. Scott Mosenson.
Because he was like, hey, yeah, it looks like the deleted scene's a little darker. And Snyder's like, hey, well, I know you like cartoon movies, so you like Justice League. Well, this is for adults. And thanks for commenting on my leaked trailer. Yeah. My thoughts on that were, and people were kind of going on both sides. One, they were back in Scott, one, they were back in Zach. This, to me, this is a movie. The Justice League movie's in theaters. It was done. You can critique the heck out of that. Right. Regardless, this is for the fans. This film would have not happened if it wasn't for the fans. This is his love letter. Like, hey, you might not like my stuff, but this is for the people that do. Yeah. And I tweeted out, and Rocha, out of everyone in this room, yours take is the one I want to see because you love Man of Steel.
I do.
You don't like BVS.
I
So I'm so curious where you're going to be on this one, because
so am I.
we got Desaad in there. We got Darkseid. We got, like, people are saying, like, oh, it's just stuff we haven't seen before cut. No, Kiersey Clemens, the whole Iris West
that
in
was
there.
awesome. Yeah.
Yes, a whole different take on Silas Stone on how he's going to die. Yeah. Like, it's a different film. Like, the Hallelujah, people are saying, like, oh, if I hear the song again, I was like, no, he's doing that kind of like, hey, Hallelujah, I'm getting my movie out there. Hallelujah, 4 years of this crap, we're finally getting it out there.
Also,
it's just a love letter to the fans. And he's so, like, his panel, he turned it, he was asking fans. He brought that girl on the Fiona behind the movement. It was like, it was his celebration of these people that have been in his corner. Mm-hmm. This is not for everybody. I get it. You don't have to watch it. You don't have to like it. It's for the fans of his. So
that's what I liked about it. And I know we're going to get to, I'm sorry, Vogel and Shannon, but I just want to add on to what Michael just said. Yes, that's what I liked about it. It's unabashedly Zack Snyder's version. This is what people have been clamoring for years now. We're going to get it. And there's no pulling back. And I'm great. And then we'll be able to judge it. And that's going to be fair too. Sure. And look, Scott and I have had our battles when we used to test DVDs way back when. He can be a snarky little shit sometimes. So I wasn't surprised to see him do his thing. But I think it's always dangerous when a critic tries to make themselves the story. I think that's dangerous as hell. And I appreciate it. Zach going back at him and smacking him down a little bit. And Scott tried to play it off as a little bit of playful victim of stuff. But it bothered me to no end. So
it was leaked. You should have watched it. You should have commented. Leaked. I mean, the day was built for this.
Yeah.
It was you couldn't wait 6 hours.
Shit on it.
You couldn't wait 6 hours to watch it with everybody. Like, this was his moment to unveil it for everybody. Like, I get it. But I'm excited. I love the fact that it's 4 hours. I hope they're going to do a physical release. They said they're going to do it. He said, he's like, for people that don't have HBO, we're going to put it all together. So hopefully that means a physical release. I think there was a little bit at the beginning. Did you guys notice this when they were talking? They set up. It sounded like we got some of Junkie XL's score, not with the trailer, but at the beginning of the panel. Kevin Smets noticed it, and I was like, I think that's Junkie XL's score, because we're going to get, because he did a whole score in there. So, I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Let's get to Vogel, my man.
What? I got nothing.
I'm waiting.
I think that Kalinowski's tweet yesterday really was 100% accurate, and I thought it was 100% on point, which is, if you hate Man of Steel and you hate BVS, you're going to hate this.
I didn't say hate. I said you probably won't like this.
All right.
And if you like those two films or you loved them,
those two movies, you're going to hate this.
Yeah.
And
if you love them, you're going to love this.
You're probably going to love this, because, like, Snyder people who are on the Snyder train, like, they love what he did. They swear by it. Look, I think we can all agree that Justice League didn't land for anybody. Yeah, like, it's not like Joss came in and turned it around into something. Like, it's not like I, as someone who am not a Man of Steel or BVS fan, went to Justice League and went, now this is my superheroes. I was like, it just kind of existed and kind of felt like a limp noodle. And so it was like, I think that if you were a Snyder fan, you definitely weren't happy. And if you're not a Snyder fan, you still were like, this is still not great. So as someone who loves these characters, as someone who is really interested in different interpretations, I think that the grand experiment of letting Snyder do this and seeing this 4 hours of what he would have done and giving him the runway and the funds and everything to really make his version of it, there's definitely like a fascination. Like, it's going to be, I'm really curious to see. But I will say that, like, where, I saw both of your guys' reactions and I'm flipping out. I can't believe this. This trailer is blowing me away. Holy shit. This is amazing. I was like, yeah, it's a really dark trailer with lots of slow motion in the rain. This is what I expect to see from Zack Snyder. And I don't care. Like I literally had the exact opposite reaction. Not in a negative way at this point. Like, I'm past even being negative about Zack Snyder. I'm kind of to where Kalinowski is. Like, there's no point in even fighting it. Like, it's like, if you love this, God bless you. Go love it. Like, be happy. And if this is not your jam and this is not your version of the heroes, and you're not someone who's on board with Snyder and you don't like his aesthetic, then don't like it. Like,
Mike, and for what you're saying is, like, the DCEU has moved on from Snyder. Like, he's even said he's not back. He's like, this is just his thing. And it's the films are out. Wonder Woman 84, Flash, the Batman, the Joker, it's all there. So it's like, this is just kind of his kind of, if you liked Blade Runner back in the day and you finally got the cut of it that you wanted, it's a thing.
I think what's interesting, I think this is where DC very much differs from Marvel. And one of the criticisms that Marvel has, although it's also their strength, is that despite what director comes in, like Taika, James Gunn, Coogler, like they all come in and they definitely, their movies are very specifically them.
Yeah.
But from a visual standpoint and art direction standpoint, like there's guardrails up. Like these movies all have to feel like one universe.
Yeah.
And that is what allows them to have the MCU, but it also sort of forces every director and everybody, like you're still playing in, you have your part of the sandbox,
right?
But still in a sandbox. Now, DC, what they're doing, like Gunn is going to do what he's going to do with Suicide Squad. Reeves is over here building a Batman like that we've never seen before. And Snyder's stuff is Snyder's stuff. It exists. It is super not my cup of tea. I can argue why I don't like it all day long. Clearly, there are people, many of them listening to this right now, that it is 100% their cup of tea.
Yeah.
I think
sorry, Mike. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, I think what DC has showed yesterday, and maybe this is what their vibe is, and this is what their multiverse is that there's room enough in the fandom for people who hate Snyder and love Snyder, because we still all love the characters.
Absolutely. All right, Shannon. Your thoughts on all of this?
I mean, I echo a lot of what Vogel said, but I mean, I did like Man of Steel. I really liked Man of Steel. I thought it was not Iron Man good, but it was a wobbly step in the right direction.
It's better than Iron Man, in my opinion.
Oh, it is absolutely.
Disagree.
Better.
Disagree. And that wobbly step turned into a full-on trip with BVS for me. Curiosity is the overriding feeling that I have for the Snyder Cut. Like, I actually watched the ultimate cut of Batman versus Superman the other night on HBO Max, and I had watched it before with Kalinowski, and I was like, okay, things make more sense. It didn't necessarily. It was better because it made more sense, but it didn't make it a better movie.
Yeah.
And the Snyder Cut of BVS, I have one question because I'm never going to watch it. Do they still become friends because their mom's named her Martha?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yes. But looking at the trailer, I love the original design of Steppenwolf. I'm like, this looks great. This looks like an alien. This thing looks fierce rather than the giant in the massive Viking helmet. Yeah. I'm curious. I mean, I think I love Snyder's love of the project, even though I might not necessarily like his take on the project. I think what we definitely will get is not the Franken movie that Justice League was in the theater. Like, I think you're not going to have those crappy blue screen shots that they had to do when they were reshooting the movie. Yeah. You're going to see the stuff that he originally shot with Momoa. Where was that? In like Iceland? Norway. Yeah. I mean,
not him in a green screen, and you're not kind of puffy Affleck that looked like he just had a facial. We're just like, oh,
yes. Affleck that line at the end. Affleck, that line at the end, like, he's never fought us. He's never fought us united. I'm like, he looks awesome now. Yeah. I hope the 4-night event. Hold on, Kalinowski, hold on.
Yeah.
I hope the 4-night events that we're gonna get from HBO Max is everything that Kalinowski wants it to be.
But just thinking about that last shot, and you too, John, I'm saying that last shot of them with the 6 of them up there, he's in the black suit. There's no red sky. Yeah, like, that's a completely different thing than it was in the movie. It's like, what we're getting is, it's like, it's a Frankenstein, like you said, McClung. That now looking, and I liked Justice League when I first saw it. I was like, that was fun. But now having watched it a couple times, like, oh my gosh, it's a mismatch, like one of those quilts that you made in high school, where it's like different countries stitched together. You're like, holy crap, what's going on here?
Did I miss a class in high school? When did we all make quilts?
You didn't get a patch from a different school and you all stitched it together?
Yeah, you didn't do that? Did you carry the egg around? Did you carry the egg around?
I'm the gay one on this thing, and I never made a quilt, and you all did. What?
Yes. We don't stereotype.
Yes, we were like this. Unite the world, buddy. Unite the world.
Everybody can make a quilt, no matter sexual orientation.
I can literally.
Jonathan Gabay just donated $4.99 randomly for no comments. So thank you, Jonathan.
Jonathan Gabay wants my shirt off.
Yeah, Gabay asked earlier if he could hit like several times because he wants to see Kalinowski Sam's top.
Gabay, I still got the beard, buddy. Still got the beard for you, pal.
Yeah, if you guys want to see Kalinowski with the shirt off, you got to get to 500 likes. Right now, we're at 368. So
can you see Kalinowski back in high school, like just making a quote that says "Unite the Seven"? Just be like, guys, I got a feeling. I got a feeling. Unite the Seven.
Kalinowski made a quilt in high school. No.
Hey, if Kalinowski had not made that quilt in high school, he wouldn't be making all those awesome costumes.
There you go. Now. That's where I learned to sew in high school.
actually, to Shannon's point, I mean, look, curiosity is the overriding factor here. Like, I am not a Snyder fan. I don't think I'm going to like these. Am I absolutely going to watch all 4 hours of this? 100% I'm going. And then we will talk about it, and I will have a bunch of people yell at me, and I can get in a big fight with all of you. Because right now I'm sort of in my, I'm feeling really good post DC Fandome. I'm like, hey, live and let live. You like Snyder? It's cool. It's not my thing. When you actually watch these 4 hours, my head will probably explode and I will come in hot. I'll be like, all right, let's talk about everything that he did wrong. Like
Mike's in that post Burning Man Sunday, and then on Monday when he's getting cut off yelling at someone, he's in post Burning Man Sunday right now. Look, I love Man of Steel is absolutely better than Iron Man, miles better than Iron Man in my opinion. I rarely ever turn on Iron Man, but I will put on Man of Steel 1,000 times more than I'll put on Iron Man, even though I love Iron Man. I do enjoy Iron Man. Yeah. There's something that speaks to me about Man of Steel as a son of immigrants. It just speaks to me in such a visceral way. I cry every time. Well, Shannon knows we watched it together one time. I got super emotional. It just feels like an immigrant story in the Superman story, and that makes sense to me. BVS, not so much, because you can't tell whose movie it is. Who am I supposed to care about here? And it's frustrating, and you're manufacturing a conflict that does not exist off something that people complained about at the end of Man of Steel in the comment section or in the critical reviews of it, and that was manufactured to me. So I don't find it.
Wait, what was manufactured to you? Wait, say that again.
The idea that he's killing, the fight between him and Zod in the city, killing people. Bruce Wayne is mad at him because the God killed his people in his building and possibly injured. That thing was manufactured. His anger and fear, and it didn't feel real, right? And when you watch BVS.
It's so funny you say that. Like, the only thing I like about BVS is that Bruce Wayne was pissed about him killing everybody in Metropolis because, like, it's
no sense.
But it does, though, because, well, this is a whole other. This is
right. True. Very true.
But I do think that, because there's a lot of character things in Man of Steel that really much bother me, mostly surrounding Jonathan Kent and what he tells his son. But like,
the hell out of here! You shut your mouth.
John, I agree with you. I think that Superman as the ultimate immigrant,
is
100% dead on, and I think it's great. I think that a lot of things that Snyder does from that point on go off on tangents that I don't agree with. And I do.
You mean after Man of Steel? Do you mean after Man of Steel?
Within Man of Steel, like the concept of you are the ultimate immigrant, you are the ultimate outsider, you're trying to understand your place in this world. That's a great jumping off point. I think that from that point forward, what he does with Jonathan Kent, what he does with Clark's journey, what he does with Clark's, like, the whole emotional arc gets wonky to me. And then I do think you can't deny the fact that, and this is just Snyder being Snyder. It's not like he went out and said, I'm going to have Superman kill people. Like, that wasn't what it was. It was Snyder completely just ignoring the fact that Superman should be saving people, not just fighting Zod and destroying cities in the third act. So I thought that him sort of at least giving a nod to that and letting Bruce Wayne go, you're a big alien and you didn't understand what you were doing. Actually, the one thing in Batman versus Superman that I was like, well, that's interesting. And then it all went to shit after that. And I was like, well, I don't care anymore.
That's fair. And that's fair. But I think you have to create this. If you're going to create the space for Batman in his second year to be figuring things out in the vengeance and changing into justice, then you got to create. This is Superman's first freaking fight.
No. This is the difference. But this is the difference. This is the key thing. That Zack Snyder didn't do this as a character choice. Like, Reeves is going in saying, this is year 2 of Batman. He's still figuring this out. This is what the story is about.
Out a 5 movie. He absolutely did this as a character choice. What are you talking about?
He absolutely did not. Reeves,
yes, he did.
No, he didn't, guys. Snyder created an epic third act action set piece with Superman and Zod kicking the shit out of each other all over the place, and him killing Zod at the end, and that was his choice. And he didn't think about the fact that these buildings collapsing are clearly killing. It's not like there's no moment in the movie. There's no moment in the movie where Superman goes, "Oh God, I did this wrong. I should have been saving people." Like, there's nothing. And the only reason that ended up taking it into Batman versus Superman was so many people brought it up that. And look, again, I'm not saying that, like, this is the worst movie or the worst movie ever, but like, it's not that Snyder was making a commentary or Superman was purposefully not doing the right thing. Like, that's not what he was doing. It wasn't until after that he sort of course corrected.
Yeah.
By the way, Gabe, who randomly paid money and didn't say anything. He just clicked it in wrong. So I got a text message. So what he wanted to say was, love him or hate him, I think we can all agree that no one cuts a trailer like Zack Snyder.
Hashtag Man of Steel.
Hashtag Man of Steel.
Oh, Man of Steel trailer.
But here's the thing. All what you're saying is, I do see your point, and I think that's what counters the Marvel point when people are like, well, what about the Avengers? But the Captain America, the whole time they're saying we got to save these people. We got to save these people. So you're right. Superman never says that. Zod never says that. However, I think what he's built up throughout that movie leads to the Zod moment, which is why the Zod moment is so powerful to me when he decides to kill him, because it is essentially by his own hand creating himself to be the last son of Krypton, by his own hand.
Yes.
And I don't mind the Paul Kent stuff, because what Zack Snyder is doing is an adult world. It is not comic book fantasy land. This is an adult world. In an adult world, a Midwestern father would be scared about what the government would do to an alien child of his, how they might kill him, stick tubes in him and do whatever to him.
Look what our world we're dealing with right now. You don't think in this America, half our country is being locked up? Like, that's you say people do not tell anyone who you are. You keep it to yourself, this and that.
We are crazy off course here. And I
not really.
I could do this all night long, but I will say that you can't on one side say, I love what Marvel did with Captain America. He believes in the things that he believes in. Sure. He is this optimistic, pure-hearted, everything, yada, 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 yada. And the way they handled that was perfect. And then jump over and say, but Superman lives in the real world. This is the way it would be today. Now, granted, those are two different worlds. It's two different takes and it's fine. But this is, and I'm not saying that what Zack Snyder did is 100% the worst thing ever and he ruined Superman or anything like that. But the reasons that I love Captain America and the reasons that I love Marvel's take on Captain America are the exact same reasons that I like Superman, right? Which is why I don't like some of the choices that Snyder made. Like, that's all.
Yeah, and that's fair. And that's totally fair. And, by the same token, I like what he did because I liked the new take. And it doesn't mean that I invalidate my love of that version of Captain America in that version of Marvel, in that version of the MCU. That's a separate take. In Zack Snyder's world, this is the Superman for that world. This is the Batman for that world, the Aquaman, the Wonder Woman, the Flash, the Cyborg for that world. And it works for me as an alternate take. That's not a shitty world. Look at our world. It's a real world.
Rain's too much in that world.
You love the boys.
There's a lot of humidity in Gotham and Metropolis.
Very humid.
All right, let's hit some super chats and we'll move on to the video games as Michael requested for sure. And I don't know how long you guys can hang out, but maybe we can get people to come in live real quick to ask us questions. We can do that too. Sinfinity says Snyder alluded last night on the Real in Motion podcast that a part 2 is not out of the question. Lord God Almighty, subs, views, and money talks. Look, he couldn't possibly do a part 2. Would he get everybody back together? Michael passed out.
I mean, look, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
Okay.
Whoever thought that Ben Affleck was maybe going to come back for The Flash? It's not out of the realm of possibility, but I would say it's on the lower end of chances of happening.
Yeah, I think that would be really, really rare. But I think he's just doing that to hype up the thing and overall. But yes, Michael.
What I do see this leading to, though, is a air cut of Suicide Squad.
I hope so. Oh my God.
See that.
I hope so.
I just thought you said I think this is going to lead to a haircut. And I was like, what?
Yeah, it's going to lead to a haircut. Actually, I just gave myself a haircut today. What do you think?
It looks good. I was going to say.
It looks good.
Myself today.
Yeah. 156 Post says, it says, as a Superman fan, Man of Steel is a Superman movie I have waited for years. When I saw Man of Steel, it was epic, best fight scene. I love it. That's awesome.
Listen, a Superman is my absolute favorite hero, and I
am
very passionate about why I don't like Man of Steel. That being said, I have a lot of friends, including several of actually all three gentlemen on this on this podcast with me, who I know are also huge Superman fans and who very much like it. So I do think, and I will say, out of the three movies, my dislike of Man of Steel is sort of this is not for me.
Right. It's not my Man of Steel.
It's not for me. Batman versus Superman is a whole other ball of wax that we can get into, but I've had plenty of conversations with hardcore Superman fans who very much like it, love Cavill, love everything about it. not my thing, and I think there's some like core differences, but I think like I'm super on board with a Superman fan who loves Man of Steel.
Yeah, fair enough. Josh W says, wasn't Zod a trained killer in general? Soup's first fight. Zod controlled where the fight happened. Yeah, because a lot of people say, why didn't Superman fly him out to another area where they didn't kill people?
Well, they were both new. Superman had
he's in general.
Yes. Hold on. They were both new to those powers. Superman had them longer, but he was not a trained fighter like General Zod would have been. Yeah. So it probably would have been even.
Here's the thing.
Let me say this. Let me say this real quick. The analogy I like to use. So he's in this city. He's going crazy. Let's say you've got a building full of people. You got a building full of people over there, and a wrecking ball is destroying this building, pounding, destroying this building. Do you go and you drive the wrecking ball away, or do you try and get each person out of the building? You stop the wrecking ball. That's what Clark Kent was trying to do. He's trying to stop the wrecking ball.
I gotta tell you guys something. I don't know if you're aware of this, but when you write a movie, you get to make all the choices. This is big. This is a big thing. I know. So these arguments about like Zod was this or Superman was this or Clark was just trying to do this. This is ultimately, and like, I'll take out even my opinion on whether it's good or bad. Snyder clearly, in what he was directing and what everyone who was working on this movie, when they got to this scene at the end, the idea of the innocent bystanders of Metropolis was a non-issue because nobody comments on it. It's never brought up. We don't see people die or not die.
Well, we do actually with Perry White, and we do see them crawl out of the rubble. But my point being, like, clearly in like Avengers or literally in the entire plot point of Avengers 2, what do we do with the civilians who are in danger is something that is brought up. And so, like, for example, one thing that you could have done, not saying this is better or worse, but to address this is if Superman is more concerned about helping innocents than his own safety, and Zod as a tactical general sees that, he could use that against Superman to get the bet. Like, there's ways to do it. So this is not a point that is wrong or right. It's more like whenever these arguments come up, well, Zod was this, so Clark had to do that. My issue is not in the moment what Clark was doing or what Zod was doing. My issue is the screenwriters, the directors, everybody making this movie, where they put their focus was here, and their focus just wasn't there. For better or for worse, whether you agree or disagree, their focus just was not here until it was brought up after the fact. That's fair. I think that's absolutely fair.
All right.
SJC36 says, with the multiverse in play, can Ben, I'm assuming he means Ben Affleck, get his solo movie as a send-off? WB's seen the scripts. Let's go. No.
Oh, I think the Flash is his send off.
Yeah.
He's dying in the Flash.
Yeah.
That gives him an official goodbye to the role. Yeah. And that's why he's coming back. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a send off.
Okay. Yeah. Shannon and I were actually texting about that the other night. Like, clearly that's why he's coming back in, because it kind of wraps up between BVS and Justice League and into Flashpoint. That will be that Batman's arc and making way for Keaton to come in and do his thing.
It'll be, and
what'll be interesting to see is Andy Muschietti, is he now privy to the Snyder cut when he's writing his script, going, okay, I'm going to take that relationship, because Snyder said in that, he's like, the Flash, Ezra gets so much more to do in my film. Is there more of are they going off of that relationship?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Will they ever address him attacking that woman? I'd like to see that.
No, Roxy Stryer, man, she's going nuts. She needs it to be addressed. She needs it to be addressed. And I don't know.
It's absolutely fair, dude.
I don't know what's going on with that, buddy.
Yep. We'll find out. I mean, they only had a 10-minute panel, so there's only so much they could do. All right, and that was on purpose, by the way. Trishka Productions quickly says, okay, I completely disagree with Vogel and his point, so unleash the Krakenowski. Just have him keep his shirt on. Still, smash the like button, guys. But I have had enough visual damage that I need to keep my eyesight for what is left.
Kalinowski, you've been working out hard, man.
Doesn't want to see my pecs and my nips.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Patrick Harden says, hot damn, this passionate debate about Snyder's take on heroes is amazing. I don't even agree with most of you, but hearing your opinions is fascinating. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. A good exchange.
That's a good thing to have, a respectful opinion, respectful discourse. That's what we should start a new show, respectful discourse.
I got no room for one more show.
I know you don't. I know you don't.
Let's bring in two people live to ask questions, if you guys don't mind here. Brandon.
Yeah.
Brendan coming in live and joining us. Hello,
hey,
Brendan.
Guys.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, man?
Okay, big question.
What's up?
Is that Colin Farrell as the Penguin?
I think it is. Look at his eyes, Brennan. If you look at his eyes, and they've putting up screenshots of the two of them together, and you see it in the eyes. And if it is, how awesome is that? How awesome does he look? He's got like this.
He looks really cool, yeah.
And did you notice in the panel where Matt Reeves was saying, he said it kind of on the side, he's like, yeah, Ozzy doesn't like being called the Penguin. So there's I think that's people, they dig at him about that because he kind of has that look.
Yeah. I think it's the $2 teeth that Colin Farrell has that gives him away. It's absolutely the Penguin.
Yeah.
He's absolutely
I think it's definitely him. I mean, I think he's got two big featured shots in that trailer. Like there's the one close up of him driving and saying this guy's crazy or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's also it's not only that to what Kalinowski is saying about the eyes, but also we know the Penguin is in the movie and that looks like the Penguin. Who else would that be? It's clearly that's what that is.
Yeah. All right, cool. Thank you. Any other questions, Brennan? Good.
That's it.
All right, good to see you, my man. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Brennan.
All right, we got Mike Shea coming in, who made that astute comment earlier. Mike Shea, what's up, dude? How you doing?
Astute. Oh, okay. Hey guys. Something that's kind of been getting thrown around a lot lately. I wanted to get your thoughts on it. Just with the Flash and Flashpoint thing kind of being where they're going with the odds of them kind of folding all these, because we, like you mentioned earlier, we've got DCEU, but we've also got the Batman and Joker. The odds of them kind of just folding like they did with Crisis and just kind of folding everything together into one to avoid that confusion that Michael was talking about earlier.
I think they'll do it a little bit, but not all the way. Look, Reeves's Batman is not going to be folded in, at least right now. Maybe eventually, but at least right now, it's not. It really does seem like they're setting up, and this may not be where they go, but they're setting up that they're going to pluck Keaton out of the Tim Burton universe, bring him into the mainline DCEU and say, oh, here's an older Batman who's going to help lead this team now. And think everyone will be on board for that and whatever. So I think I think it's less going to be Crisis, where they sort of collapsed everything into one universe and sort of sussed out what that meant, and more of giving a nod to here's what our mainline universe is. And also be aware there's some other universes out there that we've got a Flash and he can pop over if needed down the line. But for right now, we're going to let those things be what they are.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Kalinowski, thoughts on that?
I'm kind of with Vogel on that.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be this is what we can establish and show, and it's what it is, and it allows all of this to happen. But we'll see what happens with it. Yeah,
I mean, we've been able to collect multiple titles growing up as kids. For
it's
and never go
that's
hey, why isn't he showing up here or she showing up there?
I think we give too much pressure to an audience that wants this cinematic. I think the audience just wants a good movie. They just want a good movie. They want to have it. Look at the Joker. They didn't care. They're like, does this what Affleck is going to fight? They didn't care. People, not just this fandom, went. The entire world, to a tune of $1 billion, went to that movie. They don't care. They just want a good movie.
I agree and I disagree. I agree.
Of course you do.
Well, I agree that ultimately fans just want a good movie. And if DC just said, fuck it, we're not going to have any extended universe. But I do think that Warner Brothers as a company wants an extended universe.
Sure.
Because an extended universe is good business. It just works better, as it allows you to take, even as what we were saying about Black Adam, even as you get into lower level heroes, it allows you to take heroes in Marvel's universe, like the Guardians of the Galaxy, like Man and the Wasp, and throw them into this bigger universe and have a bigger story to tell. And I think Warner Brothers does understand. I think Justice League threw them off because Snyder left, Joss came in, Affleck was out, Cavill was like, fuck you guys, I don't know how I feel about it, I don't want to be in Shazam. There was a bunch of stuff going on, so they kind of were like, hey, we're not doing what Marvel's doing, we're doing our own thing for a minute. I think with Flashpoint, they see the opportunity, and with this Keaton thing that they know everybody got so excited about, they're like, oh, this is our chance to say, we're getting back on track.
Yeah.
Here's our main universe. This is our main universe, but we're giving ourselves the option to tell these other stories with marquee directors that Marvel doesn't have, which is smart.
Yeah. And I would also say the idea of them in the DCEU Prime, the fact that Affleck won't be appearing again. They have Batman in a form, And I mean, again, I think visually, I don't think the idea of the Batman or Joker crossing into this, I don't think that'll necessarily happen. Right. But I think, Ezra's Flash has already been introduced to the idea of the multiverse when he met with Grant Gunston. Right. So he knows about this. So
he's got to show up.
Yeah, we're gonna know about it as a concept, even if we don't go world jumping.
Right. Shannon, to your point, it wasn't the TV people that wanted Ezra. The film were like, they went to the TV like, hey, can you use him? Can you put him in? And they were like, yeah, we will. Yeah. So the film people were like, that's what we need to do. We need to, for the longest time, the movie people were like, nope, you can't have our characters. Nope, don't use him. Now they're like, yeah, let's go with that. So
yeah, it's a new world now.
Synergy.
Yeah, synergy. All right, thanks, Mike. Appreciate the question, brother. Always
Lord of Donuts. Thanks, buddy.
All right, let's bring in Tushka, who's coming in from Oklahoma. Tushka, what's up, dude?
What's going on, y'all? How we doing?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, man.
Hey, Rocha, I sent you a Streamlab. You want me to just ask that live then?
Do you want to just read it?
Yeah, I can remember exactly what I said. But
so basically, I'll read it. Here, just to help you, because I know you're a little slow today. All right, question. In the Batman trailer, do you think the guy in the rain was Colin Farrell or Bill Belichick? It's good to see Belichick getting his next career started since the Pats will bomb. So you want to take an NFL shot on a nerd show, so much respect. I mean, I can see
saying.
it. It's not out of the
sports reference.
I mean, good for the guy. I mean, Brady has been in, movies before. So why not? Why not get the DCEU? Yeah, it's great. Hey, seriously though, this is awesome, Mike Kalinowski, and Vogel, love you too, brother. But Kalinowski, it's good to see you on here, man.
You too, my friend. You too. Good to see you again.
Yeah, thank you guys. Y'all have a good one.
All right, appreciate it, Tushka. Thanks, bud. Good to see you. All right, they're coming in. One last one here, Daniel Haygood. What's going on, Daniel? How are you? He's got a Superman shirt on and everything.
Hey, that's right. That's right.
I approve.
That's my question tonight. Actually, is just what are your thoughts on the future of Superman in the DCEU?
Great question. Great question.
Good
certainly,
question.
we saw versions of him. We saw conversations about him. But certainly, as we're going to get to in just a second here, the trailer for the Suicide Squad Must Kill the Justice League, Superman was there. So, yeah, what is the future of Superman in Warner Brothers DCEU or DCU?
I think a lot of this just depends on Cavill.
Really? You think it depends on Cavill?
Oh, well, I do too.
Well, I think that
really?
there clearly was a minute where Cavill was like, fuck this, I'm out.
Peace.
Like there clearly was a minute where he was like, fuck this, I'm out. And now there seems to be more of a cool, I'm in, maybe. Like he's like, I'll show up here, I'll show up here. And I think that if Flashpoint, if the DCEU can get back on track, if this Michael Keaton thing really works out and everybody goes, holy shit, this is the coolest thing. And Cavill's like, all right, I'm down for this. I'm good to continue being Superman. This feels like it's good. And then you find, again, just Snyder's not my cup of tea. So find a different director with kind of a new direction that they want to take Superman in and get him back in his own movies. I think that there can be a thing. If not, then you're going to run into this whole Flashpoint multiple universe thing all over again, where Cavill's the Superman here, but someone's going to come do their Matt Reeves version of Superman over here, but then you're going to have the Flash run over there and pull him back in, and it's going to get crazy again. So I think if Cavill's on board, they can kind of keep Superman and then keep moving him forward with a different director, different creative team. If Cavill's out, I don't quite know what happens.
Yeah. To Vogel's point, I think, and it happened around 2018, where Cavill is a leading man, but he just can't carry a film yet. And I think we've seen that. Yeah. I think with Mission Impossible Fallout, where audiences took to him, I think his people were kind of like, oh, you're dragging your heels now? Well, we want X amount of dollars now, where he could command it. Witcher then took off with him. I think, and they're kind of like, well, you're making all these, you were talking about Supergirl. He's your, okay, well, we're going to back away now. And you're going to come to us now. I think Cavill's in a different position than he was back when he started Man of Steel. I think he's in a better position, and people love him in the role. Yeah. I think, John, we've talked about this. Cavill is an actor, I think, that's like a Natalie Portman. He needs to be directed. Snyder's a visual director. You show up like a Ewan McGregor with Lucas. Ewan McGregor brings it. Natalie Portman doesn't bring it because she needs to be directed. I think Cavill in the hands of like a Patty Jenkins, someone that can bring out his charisma. Look at Man from U.N.C.L.E. Guy Ritchie. You need a director that can bring out his charisma, and I think your Man of Steel 2 would be would be box office.
I love that. You could, Shan.
Well, no, and I was going to say when Walter Hamada popped up yesterday during Fandome, and he basically said we're interested in telling really good stories, and I think right now they are probably waiting for someone to come to them with an idea for a really good Superman story, and until that happens, they're not gonna try to force him into anything. They've had too many misses to have another miss.
Yeah. Might be time to write it, Mike. Might be time to Vogel. I'm just saying. Might be time to write it.
I got my plans. I got a whole idea. different take on Jonathan Kent, guys. I just got to tell you up front.
I mean, like that's the thing. At the end of the day, I want to see him back. I think a lot of people want to see him back at it. Just seeing him, just in the excerpts from the Justice League trailer, the Zack Snyder Justice League trailer was like,
and
great.
I mean, he was there. He was there at the panel saying, and like anytime word has come out that he's away, him and his manager and his team comes like, we still got the cape.
Yep.
Still haven't stepped away. So I think they're just waiting on the property. But it just sucks. We see, in Justice game, we see this new Suicide Squad game. Brainiac constantly showing up in Metropolis. Put Brainiac, make him in a movie with Superman.
Yeah.
You got it. There it is. Stop with Lex Luthor and land schemes.
Yeah.
You can do it. Just get a filmmaker that has a love of the property, and you'll be there.
And no offense to anybody, but really stop with the John Cryer Lex Luthor too. Jesus Christ, that was horrible. All right. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate it. Peace.
Thanks, Daniel.
I rewatched some of that Crisis on Infinite Earths while I was laying on my bed out of town this weekend for like an hour while Lily was handling some other stuff. And I was like, man, this is not as good as people said it was. Thomas Wayne Batman in the Flashpoint? Thomas Wayne Batman? No?
I kind of doubt it.
Some people say Michael Keaton.
Well, did you hear? We hear when Jeffrey Dean Morgan came on and they were asking about it. He's like, yeah, well, Keaton came in and took my role. I think he was the talk of what it was going to be, and then they said, well, let's try Keaton, because you saw the concept art. It was Flash with Keaton in that concept art. So I was like, I think when that came in, I was like, yeah, let's do Keaton.
I think that is what I think you're 100% right. I think that the original Flashpoint plot was probably a lot closer to Flashpoint the comic. And you were do the Thomas Wayne thing because you had the Batman in our universe, and like Jeffrey Dean Morgan playing like Batfleck sort of like that. Like
he was his dad.
It all
in BBS.
Yeah, it all works. And I think that as soon as Keaton was like game to play, they're like, scrap it.
Yep.
Yeah. And how excited did everyone get the minute that announcement was dropped? I mean, fandom went nuts.
I mean, people have been waiting for Michael Keaton to be the age to where he could be Bruce Wayne for a Batman Beyond movie. I think this is just as good.
Yeah. All right, we got a few more minutes before we wrap up here. Let's have a conversation about these video games. Suicide Squad, we alluded to it earlier. Suicide Squad must kill the Justice League, or has to kill the Justice League, whatever it's called, I think. And Gotham Knights, which was fantastic to watch as well. All right, we got those two big trailers, and if I'm missing any other ones, please mention them.
No, that's them.
Okay, what did you guys think? Did you like one over the other? Did one excite you more? Did you come away enjoying them, or did you hate them? What are you guys' thoughts on?
Both of the cinematic trailers were great. We're not going to see. We didn't see any gameplay footage from Suicide Squad because it's still like a year and a half, at least a year and a half until it comes out.
At least.
In terms of Gotham Knights, one of the things I really enjoyed about Arkham City was the DLC where you were getting to play as Robin and as Nightwing. Like that was so much fun. So as a concept, I think Gotham Knights is great that you have a choice of the 4 of the Bat family to get to play.
Yeah.
Gameplay wise, it is literally just more of what you have seen. Right. Now, if you are okay with that, if you're good with just a couple of extra powers, fantastic. But some people, I know I've read online, some people are kind of like, this is literally, we've played this game already. So hopefully the story is good. My guess is that Bruce Wayne I'll call it now. I think Bruce Wayne is going to be a Talon, and I think Damian Wayne will be some DLC.
Okay. All right. What do you guys think?
I'm kind of with Shannon. Like I'm not a huge gamer, and just it happens right now. I dove back into my PS4 because I had nothing else to do this week, and I started finally playing Jedi Fallen Order. Nice. And so I'm really in like a video game frame of mind right now and having a great time. So seeing both of these trailers, I was like, I'm fucking on board. I think Shannon's right. I think Gotham Knights is there's nothing necessarily new, that they're bringing to that whole world of Batman gaming. However, that world of Batman gaming is great. The gameplay is great. The stories are really engaging and interesting. The Court of Owls stuff is just really, really cool. It was super creepy. They handled it well. So I think if you play a game for, I want brand new gameplay, I want something new, not necessarily your jam. If you're like me and you just like getting immersed in the story and being these characters and having a story that unfolds in a really cool cinematic way, I think you're going to be super on board for it. That being said, I think the Suicide Squad trailer represents something totally new, and I cannot fucking wait to play that game.
It's interesting because Rocksteady did Arkham Asylum, City, and Night. And you talk about all those 3 games. Nothing was really new from game to game except the gameplay advanced and the graphics and stuff. But that said, the Gotham Knights trailer was more exciting to me because they did Montreal, WB Montreal, they did Arkham Origins, which to me is the best Arkham storyline we've gotten. To see this storyline, to be able to play in that world again, I cannot wait. But so the Suicide Squad, I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna be bad guys. Okay. But on the other hand, they have such goodwill, Rocksteady, and the worlds that they create, and they've said this is the Arkham world that they created from their 3 games. It's continuing. I'm so involved in their world. Everything about every attention to detail, every corner and nook and cranny of the city has some Bat reference, and now they're doing Metropolis. And just to see that, both games are in great hands. I'm curious, what do you guys think? Because Gotham Knights said 2021. Do you think that's going to be the last title on the PS4, or do you think they're both going to be PS5 ones?
Ooh,
because Suicide Squad is that's PS5. We didn't get gameplay. That's important to note. We didn't get any gameplay because I'm sure they're still. So, and what I love about this in both games, they've been teasing these games for so long and get to the point. It's like, we know what these are. Just tell us what they are. The leak of the Gotham Knights, the leak of the Suicide Squad game. But Rocksteady and both, they know they don't release unless it's ready. So I'm so on board. They've got my faith, both companies. But what do you think? Do you think Gotham Knights last one for the PS4, like a last hurrah? And I mean, Suicide Squad is definitely PS5.
Yeah.
But I'm curious on Gotham Knights because it's coming out. They said 2021, but we don't know when.
Yeah. Well, because the PS5 comes out at the end of this year, right?
Yeah.
We got a whole lot of PS5s in the chat. So it looks like like
PS5s. Do you think it's like one of those ones where do you think, Shannon, like it's like that Assassin's Creed where it's going to release on the PS5, but they'll get a lower grade version of graphics on the PS4?
Oh, you mean like after Black Flag when they did
Black
Rogue?
Flag released with 3.
Right.
I don't know. But we saw
possible.
a ton of gameplay from Gotham Knights. We saw 7 minutes of gameplay. So I don't know. But I'm excited for both. Both companies love the property. They have such a reverence for the property. I cannot wait for both of them. Cannot wait.
I do think the multiplayer, some people are saying this in the chat as well, like the multiplayer campaign and the ability to play like with everybody is kind of newer than what
that would be a new feature. Yeah.
And with the Suicide Squad, you got 4 characters, and my first take was like, man, Deadshot looks like crap. It's so bulky. But then to see the jetpack and he had like that fuel dump that shot the fuel on the bad guys, I was like, oh,
pretty cool.
It's Rocksteady, and they're doing what they do with Gotham. They make things awesome.
And Captain Boomerang has the teleportation boomerang, which is like, okay, you kind of have to level him up a little bit.
Oh yeah, but I thought he might have had some kind of speed power, but that's a weird teleportation. It was interesting.
Yeah.
So, was that Tara Strong, Mikey, doing Harley Quinn?
Oh, there you go.
Was it?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I might be wrong. Tara, if it was you, I'm sorry.
She
sound like her.
Did on Twitter apparently. I'm looking at it right now. 10 hours ago, this article dropped on Game Rant, saying that Tara Strong, as confirmed by Tara Strong, the prolific voice actress is indeed voicing Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad. I thought it was Arlene Sorkin.
Oh,
it didn't sound like her. I guess. Oh my God, Tara.
No, I just look at Seattle. It's Tim Drake as Robin, Dick Grayson as Nightwing in the game. Damian Wayne is not one of those 4. They've confirmed it was Tim Drake and Dick Grayson as Nightwing.
Is that Red Hood? That's Red Hood, isn't it? Or
Jason Todd is
Jason Todd.
Jason Todd's Red Hood.
So that's
and it looks like
Red Batman. Who is the Red Batman? Who is that?
That's Red Hood.
That's Red Hood, right?
That's Red Hood. Yeah.
So you do get Red Hood.
And it looks like they definitely kind of bulked him up a little bit to kind of give some variance in how the characters look.
Yeah. Yes. And I like Chan, what you said. Yeah. Bruce Wayne, or it was you, Vogel. Bruce Wayne has absolutely been reincarnated as an owl.
Bruce Wayne's going to be Talon. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's coming 100%. Back as a villain.
This is it's PRL18, little professional wrestling reference. Yes. Samoa Joe is the voice of King Shark. I did see that. So that's awesome to see but he's the only voice on IMDb that's listed under the game. Tara Strong is not listed, but she did tweet it out.
I don't know if she did the other Arkham games.
Yeah, I don't know if she did, but this is for the Suicide Squad trailer, right?
Yeah, so and they've kept the same they've kept the same Harley for the other three, so I don't know.
She tweeted it out at 7:25 p.m. yesterday. That this is this game trailer all the time. Years of hard work, and I'm so proud to be a part of it. But the rest of the voice cast has not been revealed. Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, King Shark. Although I will say this, Deadshot sounded a lot to me like Michael Jai White, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's the name. He even almost physically kind of looked like him.
Yeah, he does.
So I wonder if that's the route they're going to go as well. So, but yeah, I enjoyed both of the trailers. I'm not a gamer as much as anybody else is in this quorum of four. But for me, I really enjoyed the Justice League one. I had a lot of fun watching that one. The Gotham Knights one, it did feel like stuff I've seen before, although I did like the idea of the Batman dying and leaving them in control of Gotham. What does that mean? So that was fun to see in terms of, and the graphics look fantastic, but the Suicide Squad one really kind of enticed me because it's almost like, and listen, I know sometimes I can make crazy comparisons and maybe they don't work, but it almost feels like it's a mini Clone Wars redeeming Anakin. This feels like they're redeeming the original version of Suicide Squad that they made into a film by having all these characters kind of come back and do it. So I like that. I know King Shark's in this too, but like that, it feels like they're kind of redeeming a little bit what they intended to do with that first Suicide Squad movie. Maybe. I don't know.
And I'm just saying, just because it is Rocksteady and they're awesome. We saw Brainiac. We saw Superman kind of take over by a Brainiac virus. I'm assuming that all this Justice League will, but then I have a feeling that's going to get erased and they're going to be able to fight with Justice League against Brainiac.
Yeah.
Well, and
you'll be able to play with the Justice League eventually.
Well, yeah, there's going to be DLC.
You don't do a Metropolis game with Rocksteady who, I mean, they're Arkham Knight. That game, I just recently played it. That Arkham City was the city they built and you're flying around as Batman. I'll do that for a half hour. Just you don't build that and not have Superman to fly around your Metropolis.
So was that Superman at the end? Someone tweeted, in the chat, I think it was Haskell, said that's not Superman in the game. Is that?
I look like Superman to me.
He's got some. His eyes were all messed up. It was a Brainiac virus, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think because Brainiac took over the city. Right. People are saying Bizarro, but it's not. It's Brainiac.
That's not Bizarro.
No, Brainiac is taking control.
I'm pretty sure it was Superman under some mind control.
Yeah. And that's where the Justice League will be under mind control.
Thoughts on Titans, Superboy, Crypto, and Red Hood? Anything here? Thoughts on Titans?
Titans season 2 was great, so I'm on board.
Once it goes to HBO Max, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Fair set. All right,
it will.
We should wrap up here, ladies and gentlemen. We are at 2.5 hours. We should kill it.
I'm exhausted. I got sweaty pits.
Guys, thank God I didn't wear a tight shirt. I'm dying here. I'm sweating.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we didn't get to 500 likes, so Michael could take off his shirt. So sadly, he will keep his shirt. But we did get to 427 likes. So thank you all so much. Currently, 715 of y'all watching us live. Mind blowing. I'm glad we all decided to do this. I think it was a fantastic time.
What's the highest you guys ever had?
Anywhere near this, that's for sure. We've gone to 200. 22.
More than that.
Kalinowski, we got 427. Give us some belly button.
No,
come on.
Belly button.
One
get the nips. You get a nip.
There you go.
I can't get a nip out.
I like it. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody's super chat.
Oh, you saw Paradise came in there. Paradise.
Yeah. Paradise Jasudison said Sinbad as Tawny the Tiger in Shazam 2. It was announced that Sinbad is going to be in Shazam 2.
That Shazam bit was so damn good. I just love the Shazam Elite together. There's so much. John, you talk about and Vogue, you talk about planned panels, and just you tell the love of those guys. We got to have Jovan Armand and Faith Herman on DC Movie News, the two of them, the two kids,
right?
Just delightful people, and they just talked about how wonderful that cast was. So to get them back as a cast, I cannot wait. Yeah, great panel. Shazam, the Sinbad bit with the what was it? The Kamala? What effect is it? The Mandala effect?
Yeah,
Kamala.
The Mandala effect.
There you go. That's what it is. I got the Kamala effect. I'm all in the Kamala effect right now.
He steers us off the cliff here. All right. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching this live episode of the Geek Buddies. I can't thank you all. I mean, it's incredible the amount of numbers we had tonight. Glad we all decided to do it. And I think it was a great way for the four of us to kind of get back in touch with Comic-Con, considering we weren't able to do it this year. So the time flew by. It was fantastic. And
fingers crossed.
You all got to basically sit in the car with us as we drove back from Comic-Con. As some of you have listened to our podcast in the past, our audio podcast of those conversations, we basically sat in for the entire 2.5 hour ride back from San Diego to LA and listened to our conversation about it. So you guys,
fingers crossed. next year, boys.
Yeah, next
Fingers
year.
crossed we're back. Fingers crossed, boys.
But yes, thank you, and everyone. Again, thank you for your Streamlabs. Thank you for your super chats. Thank you to those of you who came in live. Thank you to my patrons who came in live to answer or to ask questions of us. Really appreciated that. Gentlemen, please go around the horn and tell people where they can find you. Kalinowski, thank you so much for taking the time, my man. Much love to you, and really appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, if you'd like to follow us on social media, on Twitter, it's at geek_buddies. On Instagram, at _geek_buddies. If you'd like to follow me on social media, on Twitter, it's at Shannon_McClung. On Instagram, at Shannon the Geek Buddy.
Right. And Mike Kalinowski, where can they follow you, brother? Man?
Follow me at Mike Kalinowski _ That's my new Twitter I've had for about a month now. Guys, DC Movie News, we're on hiatus because AfterBuzz is on hiatus because of everything that's been going on. But I'm out there on Twitter. Guys, thank you. DC Movie fans that you joined me today on Geek Buddies. Check these guys out. Follow all three of these guys. If you love what I talk about, you're going to love what these guys talk about. Trust me, they're just as passionate, even more so than I am about everything in the geek world and everything. Yeah. You got a lot to live up to now, Vogel. A lot to live up to.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm going to say follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MKToon. But more importantly, follow us, hit a like below, subscribe to Johnny's page, check out Geek Buddies. We're having these geek conversations every week. If you guys are followers and you love Nip Slip Kalinowski over here, you're going to love what we do.
The likes are going up. Let's get off. It's getting up there close. Let's go. Hurry up. Close us out.
Hold on. You're right. It's at 449. We're almost there. 500 for the shirt to come off. Let's see if I can drag out my goodbye. Well, thanks, everybody. You can follow me at The Rocha Says, you can see there on Twitter and on Instagram. And I do want to say one more thing. I know this was an all DC conversation tonight, but you can't ignore that we had a fantastic episode that dropped on Friday. If you haven't watched this past Friday's episode, it was a special interview episode we did with the cast and creators behind the animated series, The Spectacular Spider-Man. We had Josh Keaton, Vanessa Marshall, Greg Weisman, Victor Cook, and Sean Cheeks Galloway on with the three of us, me, Mike, and Shannon, talking to them about the 2 seasons of Spectacular Spider-Man, the show's legacy, why it still endures, and some of their favorite memories. And we got to hear some memories behind the scenes with Vogel as well, who was the executive in charge of that show during those 2 years that he was on there. So if you love that animated series, if you love Spider-Man, I would encourage you to go and watch that episode after we're done with this and enjoy the conversation there as well.
John, where are the likes right now?
We're at 463. We're getting there. We're almost
get us out of here. I gotta go.
And of course, follow me and everything. Follow all the shows we're doing here on the Outlaw Nation channel. Appreciate you all. And if you all are interested in the podcast version of the channel, that is on its own separate feed. Just look for the Geek Buddies wherever you download podcasts, and you can download the podcast there and enjoy it. So, and we'll be putting this audio up for there. In case any of you missed anything or want to listen to it again, we're putting the audio up on the podcast feed. Soon as this is done tonight, I'm going to put it up there at some point later on this evening so you can listen to it again and enjoy it while you look at yourself in the mirror and take off your shirt as well. We're at 465. I don't think we're going to get there. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching tonight, and we'll talk to you next time on another episode of The
Geek
Buddies. Hey!